Happy Monday, people. Action. World Baseball Classic. We're about to get into. AJ is back, and then he's got more coming up. KP at Braves camp. A lot of good interviews coming up, too. We're looking forward to hearing from guys like Matt Olson, Michael Harris, Walt Weiss. KP, do you get the feels when you're back at camp?
Yeah, especially this place. I loved coming here. There's something special about putting the Braves uniform on, but I just really enjoyed my time here. There were so many great friends that I made when I was here, so this was like a perfect place for me to come back and see some of the guys. When I watch them go out on the field, though, I definitely don't get the feels. I enjoy sitting in here in the air conditioning. The body I know wouldn't hold up for a spring training, yet alone an entire season, but it's good to come back and see some old friends.
Yeah, it's nice to just talk shit here. Everything looks easier in this seat, even though you've experienced the grind. You look good in the sweatshirt. That's your new uniform, the FT sweatshirt.
Yeah, I'm happy to be playing for this team.
Yeah, we love having you. All right, so we're looking forward to the day, but let's start with World Baseball Classic action because there's been a lot of it. Last time we were on, we really only had the pool in Japan going, and then there have been a billion games since then. So we're going to start with Team USA here. Let's charge.
He's charging the mound.
And it's presented by Fox One. That's the app where you can find all of the World Baseball Classic games. More info on that coming up. All right, AJ just called the first two games for Team USA, blowout wins. And I want to spin it forward first, then tell me your experience.
Okay,
but I want to get your thoughts on, like, okay, now you saw, in my mind, their warm-ups. Are they going to crush Mexico, or are they going to lose like last time?
I think they'll be fine. I think KP knows this too. As a player, especially early in camp, like they got two whoever made this schedule, they gave them the two warm-up games kind of first, tip your cap, then gave them an off day, then set up their two supposedly hardest games in pool, which is Mexico and Italy. Here's what I saw. Their lineup is disgusting. I mean, let's get serious. I mean, they had Cal Raleigh hitting 6th. They had Byron Buxton hitting 8th. Bryce Sarang hitting 9th. One game, the first game. And then the next game, they kind of made some adjustments. PCA hitting 8th. I mean, it's like, come on, guy. Will Smith. I mean, it was like, come on. Like, this isn't fair. The only thing I worry about with this team is not the names of the pitchers. It's the work of the pitchers, right? Because they're still being built up. And the one thing Mark DeRosa said, and I agree with this, is all his guys are on affiliated teams, obviously, and big league teams, and 99% of those guys have been all-stars, are really good. They're held to more restrictions than the other teams. So let's say they face I don't know what the restrictions are for, let's say, a Japan, right? But they get the Japanese, the NPB guys, and that whole thing. They're not on the same restrictions. Like Mark DeRosa said, certain guys can only pitch once and they need 2 days off. Nobody can go back-to-back. If I get somebody up, I have to bring them in. If this guy has to pitch every other day, this guy can only throw 50 pitches. This guy can throw 60 pitches, right? So it doesn't matter what the rules of the WBC. They have to play by the rules of the MLB teams. And other teams don't have to do that. Like, I'll use Mexico as an example. They got some guys that don't play in the big leagues. Pitchers-wise, they pitch in the Mexican League. They can pitch the WBC limits, right? So say the limit is 95 or whatever, and the big league team's like, we only want them throwing 70. There is no limit to that number. And so that's the only thing I worry about is, and that's why Kershaw's on this team, because he's the one guy that's not affiliated, so he can kind of do whatever he wants, is they get caught somewhere with when it gets to the quarterfinals, semis, because it's like boom, 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 it's really fast in a row, that they get caught with their pitching not lining up. I know they're going to bring in some reinforcements. They're going to bring in some new guys. Will Skubal pitch again? I mean, it lines up for him where he could pitch the final and he'd have another start, so he'd be another inning built up. Will he do it? It'd be awesome if they make it and he does it. I don't know. That's the only thing I worry about. Their lineup is ridiculous. I mean, come on, KP. Like, can you imagine being a guy from Great Britain? I mean, they brought in Vance. The two guys who had a lot of success, honestly, against the U.S. team are the guys who were throwing under hitting speed. As soon as they bring in a guy that's like 93 to 99, they whack, whack, whack. It's the 40-year-old guys that are throwing 82 that they can't hit because they've never seen it.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's an ego thing too, and it rightfully so, because these are some of the best players in our game. But does Mark DeRosa, as the manager, have the freedom to actually ride the hot bat or the hot pitcher when it comes time to single elimination? Obviously, right now, it kind of almost feels like it's like the fall league. You have your priority guys and then you have your secondary guys. And I think guys probably know going into it which one you are. But when it comes time to trying to win a gold medal and you get out of this pool play, does he have the freedom to put the guys he feels like is the best option to win a game? And that's the challenge the U.S. always has to face. And then same goes for like the bullpen. It's hard to justify as a major league or as a manager at Team USA. You have a right-handed bullpen guy in there and you have a lefty coming up, but this is a team's best reliever. Does he have the freedom to go out there and match up left on left or right on right, when it's time to win a game?
When it comes to Mexico, they won, I believe it was 11-5 last time against them in 23.
And then U.S. ended up, and then they lost. Remember, they were beating Japan until the 9th inning, and they lost in like the semifinals. It would have been U.S.-Mexico in the finals.
Yeah. You know who had the go-ahead hit in that one against Mexico? It's your new boy, Murakami.
See, I thought he had the hit against USA too, didn't he? In the left center field gap, or was that Mexico?
No, I think he might have had both.
Dude's a stud. He's on the
clutch.
White Sox. You guys, if you watch the broadcast, there was White Sox legend all over that field. But here's the thing, KP, to what you said. I mean, we got long times with Mark DeRosa. We got to talk to him for a long time. And the biggest thing he has is he's talked to these guys. Like, he didn't want to call a guy and say, you're not going to – like Bobby Witt last time. He's like, you're not going to get to play. But you'll be on the team. Now, Kershaw's fine with it because Kershaw doesn't care. But the rest of this guys, the biggest thing he kept saying was, I got to honor these guys. I got to honor them, and I got to get them at bats.
This time he has to do that?
He's saying, I got to honor them. He's like, we picked this team so that we could have interchangeable – like Goldschmidt, right? He's probably the one guy that he's like, okay, listen, Paul, you're a little bit older, but he's also only a first baseman. You might come in and get it, but he hasn't gotten a bat yet. He's the one guy who hasn't gotten to start. He came in the second game to get Bryce off his feet, right? But
now all the games are going to be tough too. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
Might get 2 at-bats the whole tournament.
Exactly. That's the whole thing. So he kept saying that I got to honor these guys. Because if you look, who do you take out and who doesn't deserve to play?
Who gets platooned?
Nobody. Like he said, but he said when the games get tougher, especially when they get to Miami with the bigger outfield, he's like, PCA in the end of the game, if we're winning, is in. He's like, he's coming in wherever we put him, left field. I mean, they have Roman Anthony in left field, but he's like, PCA was taking fly balls in left and right so he could get used to it.
Do you know what I just thought of? Okay, so let's say it's late in a game and they're playing a team that actually does have a good lefty out of the bullpen and Harper's up. Like, are you going to bench Harper for Goldie just because Goldie hits lefties? Like, that's what I'm saying.
No chance.
You're really going to go call Harper out?
No,
all right, here comes Goldie.
That's what Goldie knows, though.
He knows, yeah.
Right? So Goldie's okay with that. I mean, this team is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
Offensively. And if let's say this was the middle of July, right? Right, KP? And you had Skeens fully built, Skubal fully built. Logan Webb was disgusting the other night after the leadoff homer. So was Skubal after the leadoff homer. It's almost like they were like, we're in spring training mode. Here's a heater. Randy Ramirez's kid hit the homer, and the kid for Great Britain hit the homer the first pitch.
Nate Eaton had 3 hits in that game.
He's the only guy who got a hit.
Yeah.
Right? So then after that, they're like, oh, that's right. This isn't spring training. This counts. And they were just like, carve. Game over. It was crazy. Like the amount how they stepped up their game once they gave up that home run.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing for Mexico, just to focus on this game for a moment, is last time around they had Patrick Sandoval in their rotation. They had Julio Urias. Remember that name? I mean, he's probably gone forever in the game, but he was really good. And then this time around, there were some names that could have been part of a rotation that could have messed around. Taj Bradley. That's big time stuff. I mean, I know he's had inconsistency, but he dropped out late. Urquidy dropped out late. That's a big league pitcher. Cody Ponce has really good stuff. We haven't seen him in the big since he's come back here to pitch for the Blue Jays, but he withdrew. So they just are missing a lot of their pitching talent, and you can't keep going into the well if you're Mexico. Be like, oh, let's go deeper now and find someone else. So that's probably going to be the separator here, and why I don't think the U.S. is going to have a problem this time around. Because Mexico, I think, beat them 3 times in a row. I want to say it is. I heard somewhere.
This is the
their offense is good. They've got guys.
And by the way, the atmosphere
Randa,
is going to be electric.
More Mexico fans in my mind.
Houston. It was, first of all, let me say this. The first game, Brazil, was kind of like atmosphere.
Yeah.
The next game against Great Britain, the second game we did Saturday night, was unbelievable. Everyone was dressed up in their USA stuff, and then the Brits were dressed up, and they're like the guy with the. I showed the guy with the lion, and he had the British like flag painted on his face, but he was like the lion, and he had like a Britain flag. It was unbelievable. It was super cool. Statues of Liberty people. Everyone was dressed up like former president. The guy had the shirt on that said "Britain Blue, a 13 colony lead." Was great. I mean, there was so many funny things that were going, and I tweeted this out. KP, have you ever been to a Blackhawks game?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so when they do the anthem at the Blackhawks game, everyone stands and sings it at the top of their voice. It's one of the coolest things as a fan to experience. They actually sang the national anthem as the fans when whoever sang, I forget who sang it, but whoever sang it, and the whole crowd. And we have when you do a game, you stop, right? So they did "God Save the Queen" first, and it was just instrumental, and it was like, and it was over it seemed like 20 seconds. It was over. And they got the little cheer, and then they did the Star Spangled Banner, and the whole crowd sang it, and it was like, whoa, people are actually really into this. Although I will say, I have to admit this, and as an American, I hate to say this, "God Save the Queen" is kind of a better anthem than ours, just because
a lot of people love the Canadian anthem,
and the Canadian anthem also is better.
Can't switch it.
I know. I
We're
just
married to it.
Wayno and I had a big fight about this. Before the game, he says, "Dude, you're American." I'm like, I get that, and I love the Star Spangled Banner, but just if you actually listen to the words of like "Oh Canada," even though it's Canada and it's England and the "God Save the Queen," the words are like you're like, oh, like I would feel better. "America the Beautiful" maybe was the national anthem because it kind of hits because a lot of people don't know what Francis Scott Key was saying when he wrote the Star Spangled Banner.
Lingo has changed.
Exactly. That's kind of the thing. But listen, I love the Star Spangled. So nobody please say, oh, he hates America. No. But I'm just saying the words are maybe more still hip today than Star Spangled Banner.
That's fair. Okay, last layer here. You touched on it, but I want to go deeper on this, and we can start with KP. What are your thoughts on what Skubal is going through? KP, I had a feeling this was going to happen. He shows up. He's got FOMO, right? He's fear of missing out for the rest of the tournament. He is having a blast. It's such a cool environment there. And there's speakers. You start to talk to the guys, too. I think this quote stood out. There are people that make real sacrifices for me to go out and play a kid's game. That was a Skubal quote, right? He's got a lot on his plate. Free agent year, he could be the highest paid starting pitcher ever, $400 million guy maybe. Whatever it is. Tigers invested in Framber Valdez, and this could be their last big shot, and he's probably going to leave after that. There's also a scheduling issue, which I can get into in a moment. Ken Rosenthal documented it really well, where like if he pitches in the title game, it puts him in kind of a weird spot where he'd probably have to go 8 days without a real start in spring training. Anyway, thoughts first on what he's going through, and what would you do if you're him?
Oh, man. I wish I was in his position, but I think it also speaks to where he has come from in his own individual journey to getting to the big leagues. A lot of these players were fortunate enough, maybe at a young age, to wear the USA uniform, coming up and playing in the Pan Am games or junior qualifiers. Tarik Skubal probably never thought he would be in this position to pitch for Team USA. And he's arguably the best pitcher in our sport. And it's probably really hard to imagine what those feelings are going to be like when you put the USA across your chest. When you get into that clubhouse, you're surrounded by the best American players in the game. And then you go out and experience the WBC. And I've been locked in as a fan, and I'm very envious that I, never got a chance to go to that tournament and play in it. But he's in a really tough situation because it just shows how much of a competitor he is. And you think about all the things he has to look forward to, starting another opening day, potentially being the highest paid pitcher, in our sport a year from now. Those emotions and those feelings are real when he stepped on that mound, and he's in a really tough situation. I know the Tigers are in a tough situation, but when you hear him talking about it, and I'm sure there's a lot of things that happen behind closed doors that maybe we don't know as fans. Maybe they are bringing in former military or current military members, and they kind of talk about what it means for these guys to represent them, and going out and trying to win a gold medal. And it's really hard to fight those feelings. But if I'm him, I think you got to know yourself better than anyone else at this point. And if he feels like it's the right decision, not just to represent his country, but the right decision for himself to go out and pitch in this competitive environment at this point in time, he knows how his arm feels. He knows how his body feels. He knows how to prepare himself for the regular season. I really hope that he's able to go out there and pitch one more time and he feels comfortable doing it.
The Tigers don't want him to do it. I don't know if they've really strongly publicly said that, but Hinch kind of did say, hey,
I don't think Scott Boras is, I don't know this, but I can't imagine he's super happy about him going out there.
There's no way. Do you know? Can I go over the schedule part just for a moment? This is from Ken's article.
DeRosa explained it to us.
Okay,
Perfect.
so then
he said if you look at when he pitched, the next one he pitched on the 7th. Okay, today's the 9th, right? So he pitched Saturday the 7th. His next he could pitch the 12th, which is his normal rest
in spring
training, and then he could come back for the 17th, which would be the finals. The problem is then that puts him online for 9 days until opening day.
Right, that's what I was saying. 8 days, 9 days,
whatever it is. And then Waino explained it perfectly. He's like, he could still do it. He'd just go and throw like a light one in between. But do the Tigers want him to do that? That to me is the real question: is will the Tigers want him to do that? And listen, he first and foremost, when he took the mound and everyone's chanting USA, he walked out to the bullpen. Everyone was cheering for him, and he got a USA chant. And then he stood on the mound and everyone's chanting USA. Like, that hits you. No matter what you say this means, that hits you differently. So then I think you see his quotes change. Before the game, he's like one and done. And then after the game, he's like, well, I don't know. Like, that was really cool. I'd kind of maybe want to do that again. And then anyways.
AJ, you would know better than me, but I mean, how difficult is that for a starting pitcher, especially early in the year? I mean, wouldn't you almost feel like the couple extra days would kind of benefit him going into opening day? I know pitchers are a creature of habit, but this scenario, maybe not on 9 days, but there are times throughout the year where there's an off day thrown in there. Maybe there's a rain out. Guys get pushed all the time. I mean, it feels like if there was ever a time for him to have the extended period of rest, to be able to go into a controlled environment in spring training on a backfield against maybe his own hitters and, throw a 3-inning sim game, I feel like it's the perfect kind of scenario for him to kind of do this.
I agree, and that's exactly what Adam Wainwright said the other night on Fox when we were talking about this. Is he said a lot of times, as you know this too, KP, the starters, the big starters, the last start of spring is only like a couple innings, and a lot of times they do it on the backfield. And they say, hey, you're going to throw 50 pitches, 3 up downs, you're going to go out 15. No matter how those 15 go, sit, boom, come back out, throw your 15, sit, come back out, throw your 15. They don't just go out there and throw 100 pitches. Now, some guys do, usually the younger guys, but not the veteran guys. They already know their body and they're ready to go. So could he do it? 100%. Now, will the Tigers let him do it? That's the bigger question.
Look at the workload, too. I mean, he went about 216, I think, was the number of innings last year. If you include the playoffs.
Yeah.
There's a guy who –
in the year before, too.
Also pitched a ton the year before and in the past has had injuries. He's had his Tommy John already, right? Like, he's gone through a lot to get to this point. It wasn't – like, Skeens is a little different. You're like, I mean, this is perfection. This dude was shining by the time he got to LSU, and then he's had no blips in the majors. Skubal's in his free agent year. If something goes wrong in the beginning of the year, everyone's going to point to this.
I know.
It's just how it works.
That's why I don't think he's going to do it. As much as it would be awesome if he did, I don't think he's going to do it. I think he'll go back because he was still in Houston last. I don't know if he's finally back in Lakeland, but as soon as he gets back to Lakeland, the travel guy for USA and the travel guy for the Tigers is going to say, you know what he's going to say? Sorry, we can't get you a flight to Miami. And no, there's no rental cars and there's no gas in the state of Florida that you can drive to Miami.
Out of private jets.
They're out of everything.
Wow.
Yep, you're just stuck in Lakeland.
That's tough.
Hey,
Scoops, if you need a ride, call me. I'll drive you down.
My
car has gas.
Is it public knowledge? Or do you guys know who those like reserve pitchers are that would potentially take his place?
Joe Ryan is one.
And he had the back thing, so
it's mostly bullpen guys.
But Joe Ryan is the main starter. Matt Strom. There's another pretty big name. Listen, I'll give DeRosa credit, man. Yarborough's on the team now, though. He's not a reserve. He was there. He was in Houston. Yarborough was.
Oh yeah. He is on the team now.
I'll say this. I know we got a break here in a second, but DeRosa. Listen, like, love, hate, whatever it is with DeRosa. I'll say this. He's really thought about this since the last one they lost in 23. And he's like, we want split neutral guys that can get righties and lefties out. We want guys who maybe can go more than one inning, although we don't want to have to use them more than one inning. He's like, we want guys like Ernie Clement. The reason Ernie Clement's on this team is because he can play any position. So it frees up some other stuff. I mean, he's really thought about this. He's like, we talked about moving Bregman to second so we could play Gunner at third, but then we have Bryce Terang, who's a stud. So he's thought about, I mean, this wasn't like just throw together a roster. I mean, he's really dug into this, and he only wanted people that wanted to be there. He didn't want to have to call and beg anybody. Everyone that's on this team kind of wanted to, almost asked to be on the team. So they've thought about this a lot. It's not just thrown together.
No. The U.S. lost last time, and it's like, why? I mean, the U.S. has only won once, right?
Yeah.
In the tournament's history. And they're like, why? Why is the U.S. not more competitive in this? And they're trying to change that. So the drama continues this evening. To me, this is where we've gotten through the warm-up phase for Team USA. So let's show the schedule. USA going up against Mexico, then they'll have Italy, and then we'll go from there to show you what's happening. But there are other games going on this evening too. We're going to talk more about the WBC in general later on. We'll talk about Ohtani and company advancing and the other pools. But that's the schedule, and we're showing you the schedule also because it's all happening on the Fox One app. This episode's brought to you by Fox One. Stream all your Fox favorites together in one place. MLB, regular season, postseason, NFL, college football, WBC going on right now. You get it all live. Start your 7-day free trial today. Offers subject to change. Go to Fox One for complete terms and conditions. Fox One, streaming now. We're back in a minute with Michael Harris. We love HelloFresh. Shout out to them and over 100 recipes to choose from each week to provide variety. They're the spice of life. They don't make it boring for you when you're preparing food. Also, there's 3 times the seafood for no upcharge. AJ, they wanted you to know that you can impress your guests or your family with new grass-fed steak ribeyes. And you can make meals with seasonal produce like pears, apples, and asparagus.
Well, listen, Scott, I'm trying to stay in my playing/fighting shape, so I need the seafood, I need the protein, and I need the veggies. And plus, I want to look cool when people come over and say, wow, you made all this stuff? And I'll be like, easy peasy.
A new slogan, HelloFresh, making AJ look good. So go to HelloFresh.com/FT10FM to get 10 free meals plus a free Zwilling knife, a $144.99 value on your 3rd box. Offer valid while supplies last. Free meals applied as discount on first box, new subscribers only, varies by plan. Because when dinner tastes this good, nothing hits like home cooking.
I'm here with Braves center fielder Michael Harris. I'm going to hit you with a tough question right away. We played together in 2023. In 2024, I got asked by a reporter, who do I think could win the National League MVP? And I chose you. What's it going to take for you to prove me right?
I think exactly what I'm doing right now. Kind of came into spring knowing what it probably takes to get to that next level offensively for me. And I guess right now I'm being more selective and kind of finding the right pitches to swing at. And I've kind of accumulated some walks already. So hopefully that translates into the season and it can kind of prove you right.
There you go. We'd love to see it. So for our audience, I don't think we had you last year, at least not later in the year. So can you just kind of run through your evaluation of the season? It was kind of wild, right? I think well documented. You went through some ups and downs early on in the season, then you just tore it up late. So what did you see when you were able to evaluate your season in the off season on how things changed and what you learned from it?
Yeah, obviously the first half was pretty nasty. Didn't know what was going on. Didn't know what to fix. Was trying different things. It would work for a couple of days and then go back to not really feeling like myself until came to the conclusion of my hands weren't getting to where I needed them to be. I would try to do drills in the cage to exaggerate and get them up, and they would never get up there. So I went and just said, why not move my hands back up? I made the change when I got called up to move from up to down. So I don't think it would be that hard to go from down to up. Something I've pretty much done my whole life. So once I did that, everything started to flow. Started to hit fastballs again like normal, and I felt like myself. So it's kind of what I assessed. Tried to keep doing that during the offseason, make sure everything was nice, polished, and here in spring training, trying to put it all together to be ready for game 1.
Yeah, speaking of the offseason, when you walked in here, I said, you look like you're in great shape. Obviously, the world knows about Lawrence Butler, but tell us about some of those other guys that you're kind of your baseball buddies that you train with, the Atlanta boys, and what you guys call yourself.
Yeah, we call ourselves the Hill Boys. It's Chandler Simpson, Lawrence Butler, Jalen Allen, Marquise Grissom Jr., Ryan Spikes, Cam Collier, and myself. So yeah, we're from Atlanta. It started in COVID. We couldn't work out anywhere, so Marquise Grissom let us work out at his what is it called? His property in Georgia, and ever since then we kind of gave ourselves the Hill Boys name, and it's run by him and Luke Collier. So they work us to death, and we kind of come into spring training in shape.
Have you raced Chandler? Have you raced him yet?
I mean, yeah. From that one video everybody saw, I say I won. I'm not gonna race him again and obviously try to lose, but I'm gonna just take my title and say I won that one.
Oh, wow. I remember that. Okay. So one and done. What did Chandler say afterward? Was he trying to get you to go again?
No. Originally that it wasn't even like a race. It was just our last sprint of the day after a workout, and it happened to be recorded. And I happened to, I guess technically I came in second from what Lawrence says, but he had on a long beanie, so it doesn't really count. He's already 6'4" with a long beanie, reach over the line. I feel like I won, but Chandler actually came in third, so that kind of makes him a little slower in the head, and he didn't like that. So I'm definitely not racing him again. Yeah, no.
Are you gonna take over for the freeze? They're looking for a new freeze in between innings. You could just be the new freeze. Apparently the freeze left, so you could be the freeze, and then just have the people try to chase you since you're so fast.
I can start from center. I'm not going from the foul line. I'll start from center and try to finish.
How different has camp been without Ronald being here? I know it's probably we love Ronald, but your ears get a little nice break, right? You don't have to hear him talk all day, every day.
Yeah, it's not even Ronald. It's Ozzy. Everybody got a nice release when he left. It's a lot quieter at stretch. We can focus at stretch. But yeah, obviously missing those guys. Hoping they're having fun at the WBC. And they're a big part of this team, but it is a lot quieter without Ozzy here.
Hey, have you been watching? Of course, Ozzy had his big moment over the weekend, but have you been watching the games, and what did you think of Ozzy's big swing?
Yeah, I've been tuning in to games when I could. It was crazy because when Ozzy hit the walk-off, I just came in from coming out of a game that day. As soon as I walk in, he's in that situation, and then first pitch, homer, everybody's in the clubhouse going crazy. They call him afterwards. He's talking to the guys. Yeah, it was a crazy moment. Yeah, doing that for your country, I know it means so much to him, and hopefully we can see that this year with the team.
Yeah, you're still young enough, but when you watch that, is there some extra motivation to potentially want to go represent the USA and play center field for him?
Yeah, for sure. I think it'll mean a lot to be able to wear USA across my chest and be able to play for this country. I guess it's whenever I get the chance to, I'll try my best to put on for this country.
Michael, you're from Atlanta. We talked about you being from Atlanta and your whole thing. Who has more commercials when you watch a Braves game, you or Jeff Francoeur? Because when you turn on a Braves game, it is commercial Michael Harris a second, Jeff Francoeur, and then it's like back and forth. Which one of y'all has more commercials happening in Atlanta at the same time?
From what I hear, it has to be me. I feel like every commercial is a different Bronco commercial.
Yes, you must have a whole fleet of Broncos.
No, I don't know. I hate to hear it. I just hate to hear myself back, and so I kind of avoid hearing them. But people tell me all the time that I'm like on every commercial, and I better really give that Bronco away. Or yeah, I don't know. I'm glad I don't have to watch the game. I'm in the game, so yeah, I hear a lot that I'm on the commercials a lot.
Hey, I'll tell you what though, that Bronco they give you is nice. I've seen it. I don't know about the ones over the last couple of years, but the one that you had when I was there was really nice. What's the vibe been like with Walt? you manning the ship now?
Yeah, it's been good. He's energized. He's ready to win. He gave us our first meeting. He gave us an inspirational kind of video to go off of to kind of use in our careers and our everyday life. So he's ready to go to war, and we're ready to be his soldiers to go with him.
Was it like a movie quote, or is it like a thing that he kind of put together? What kind of video was this?
It was a UFC fighter. I forgot his name. But he was like the #1 fighter at the time, and he was going against a guy that he was supposed to beat, but he wasn't mentally prepared because maybe he thought he was gonna automatically beat him. And he said that he told himself in the mirror that he wasn't ready right before he went out, and he ended up losing. He took that with him, came back and fought the same dude again, and it was kind of like a massacre. So it was basically, the message was, I guess, be ready. If you're not ready, you're not going to conquer the moment. So just prepare for every moment to be the best.
Yeah, just sitting here hearing that message kind of almost makes me want to get out of this chair and go back and play. But I'm pretty comfortable here. Obviously, AL or the NL East juggernaut. Obviously a tough year last year. First time you guys missed the playoffs in the last 8 years. Extra motivation going into this season.
Yeah, for sure. I never wanted to ever miss the playoffs in my career, but that's just the way last year went, and we're kind of do everything. We're trying to do everything right now to not be in that position again. You don't know how the season goes. Baseball is such a crazy sport, and when you play 162 games, so much can happen. So just being able to be here and try to prepare with the new guys that we have and the coaching staff is kind of what we're preparing to do to not do what we did last year.
Hey, when you guys were going through that last year, how difficult was it? Because you've, in your career, never experienced that at all. So you end up late in the season essentially playing games that don't mean anything because the team was either eliminated or close to being eliminated over that past month or so.
It was kind of crazy. The vibes weren't different in the clubhouse. Everybody was still lighthearted. Still the same guys. It just, when we got to the game and got in certain situations, it just didn't go our way. And it was one of those things you couldn't really put your finger on what was going wrong or what was really happening. But at one point, our whole rotation was gone. They were dealing too when it happened. So that kind of took a hit on us. We weren't really performing as well on offense. That kind of went on top of that. So yeah, it was a weird year, but I wouldn't say our vibes changed or the way we were. So we just didn't execute the way we should have.
I know you guys had a extremely tough start to the season last year. The West Coast road trip, the teams you played. Obviously, I think you guys were 0-9 to start the year, 0-7 to start the year. Do you believe you guys will kind of approach the end of spring training a little bit differently once your WBC guys get back? Maybe last couple of games, like, hey, let's treat these a little bit like games. Let's get that good competitive juice going. So you go into the season a little bit more prepared than last year, or is it just a tough start to the season last year?
I think it was just a tough start. I feel like we prepared the right way last year. It just didn't happen to fall in place for us. Two tough teams. Obviously, the World Series champion, the second series, but then playing the Padres, who was, I felt like, was just as good as them going into it. We just didn't pull out a win, but can't really use that as an excuse. We just never found our way back after that, and kind of hurt us.
Hey, so when things don't go right, the online world, Michael, just wants to find something, right? Like you said, hey, it's hard to find it. I will make the case that not having a lot of the rotation intact is pretty challenging as well when you look back at last year. But there was one narrative that carried for a little bit about how, hey, a lot of these guys are on extension, so maybe they're not as hungry. Like, how do you defend that? Because most of the time, fans are rooting for what you guys have. Hey, get extensions done so you got the same core for a while. Fans can buy the jerseys. They can follow the stars. They stay with the team. So what's kind of the pushback for people that say that? Because you're one of them, right? You signed an extension early on in your career. And can you speak to how motivated you are every day?
Yeah, I've never really understood why people think because players are paid and have an extension that they're just kind of coming in every day, going through the motions, and not really caring about the results. I feel like it makes you even more hungry because there's more expectations for you, and I feel like everybody wants to be the best. So, yeah, I never understood why people think that we think that way, but I think that's what makes last year so much tougher because we have so many people that are extended, and we didn't have the seasons that we were kind of supposed to have.
Hey, Michael, give me your best Chris Sale story. I know he's done something crazy in that clubhouse, so you got to give me something. I know he's said something or done
Has
something.
he done something crazy? Oh, I don't know. See,
Or
I'm
you
not
just
with
don't
the
talk
pitchers
to
all the
pitchers.
time,
Well, give
so-
him context because you play.
I said I'm
So
not.
I played with Chris.
I talk to the pitchers. I'm not around them as much.
Okay, because I played with Chris when he
AJ
first came up, so I've known him since 2010. Okay,
AJ,
So-
how scared would you be if he had that samurai sword?
He
Who,
does have a
Sale?
samurai sword.
Yeah, you see that samurai sword that Mizuno gave
Yeah.
him?
Yeah, no, he's
How
not
scared
getting.
would you
He's
be
not getting
knowing-
within 20 feet of me or my family, especially even the uniforms for that matter.
Does he even know that? Like Michael's so young.
Do you know that Chris
No.
Sale chopped up the uniforms? You've heard that story, right?
Oh yeah. He
Okay.
told us about that too. So yeah, that's probably his
Okay.
craziest story. Not here
Yeah.
though, but
Yeah.
Maybe he's on his
Okay.
best. He's on his best behavior now. He's a little
Yeah,
older,
he's-
a little
he's
wiser, better
matured.
behavior.
Yeah,
Chris is matured now.
that's good. I got one more. Last one for me. How do you preserve your body playing center field? We see some guys able to carry it deep into their career. Actually, this is a perfect question with both of you sitting there, right? KP able to do it, deep into his 30s. Like, how do you do it? Are you thinking about that? Like, hey, I want to play this position for a long time, longer than most do. And what can you do to make that happen?
I think it all depends on the person, the player. You just got to find a routine that works for you and that makes you feel good going into a game. Last year, I was able to stay healthy where I played, I think, 160 games. So I don't know exactly what changed, but I think I did find a routine that really worked for me and just going out there every day to feel my best, recovering the right way, making sure I'm hydrated. So it all depends on the player and what works for you.
Yeah, I mean, right on that topic, it's perfect time to let him get out of here because part of staying healthy and playing center field for a long time is making sure you get the stretch on time. Make sure you stretch it out, stay limber, stay loose. And we got to get this guy out here for stretch because, when healthy, when the swing's right, when the mentality's right, I truly believe this guy's got the skill set to be one of the elite players in this game. And, I'm always rooting for you. Big fan of yours.
Yeah.
Stay healthy and go make the A proud.
Oh, yeah. I appreciate it.
All right, let's shout out SeatGeek. They've got a lot of action going on right now. It's not just baseball, of course, any sport, concerts, all of that. But just in the baseball world, you have spring training games where we'll show you the code. You're going to get yourself 10% off. Or WBC going on right now, KP. People will probably be looking at, say, Miami and the matchups that are going to formulate and go, oh, damn, that is sold out. Head to SeatGeek.
Oh, if I'm needing tickets, I'm going to SeatGeek, and I'm for sure going to Miami, and I want to see a Dominican Republic, Venezuela matchup. Two of the best Latin countries facing off in Miami. I can't imagine the environment that would be.
That's Wednesday. So if you want to get tickets for that, that's coming up.
And then next weekend is Japan versus DR Venezuela.
Yep.
And Korea versus versus Dominican or Venezuela.
Right, one of those two from that.
And then whoever wins those will get USA or Mexico, Puerto Rico. Listen, SeatGeek, I'm telling you, I went 23 to that Venezuela USA semifinal, the Trey Turner Grand Slam. One of the coolest games I've ever been to in my life. And that includes playing in a lot of big games. If you haven't been to a WBC game, especially when it gets to the knockout stage, go to SeatGeek, use the code Territory10, and go to one of these games, if either in Houston or in Miami. But the atmosphere is it's winter ball on blown up.
Yes.
It's winter ball on Profar drugs. Okay,
it's winter ball crazy. World Series, right? Like
it really is.
Got it all. I'm telling you, if you have not gone, I'm the same. I feel the same way. So 10% off any tickets with promo code Territory10. Check it out. Make sure you click the link in the description, download the app, and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Shout out to SeatGeek. Hey, it's mid-March. You've got all baseball season to work with too in the regular season, but this is a time for the app to shine.
I'm sitting here with new manager of the Atlanta Braves, Walt Weiss. Before we get into the tough questions, is there a manager in baseball that you think can outlift you?
I ain't going there, man. You see the back of my card, man. Look at the date of birth, huh? But hey, Father Time's undefeated, but trying to keep him on his heels.
Serious
Who else
question.
is-
Serious question.
Who else is strong though, KP? Like who else can keep up with Walt? You think manager wise?
I don't think there is I don't think there's a manager in the game that can keep up with Walt. One, because he's in there every single day. He cares about it. He cares about the way he looks and the way he feels. But I don't think there's a manager in baseball that could out bench press you. But
Gabe
serious
Kapler.
question.
Gabe
He's
Kapler.
not managing.
He's not
He's
a
a
manager.
general
He's not a
manager.
Next topic.
Next topic. Okay. How second time around managing? How difficult has it been for you to have been here and be part of a team that's been very successful, an organization that's been very successful, but wanting to kind of deliver your own message?
Yeah.
And what has that message kind of been?
Yeah, I think there's been benefits to having been here for the last 8 years. They of course had never seen me in a leadership role, but the relationships are already established. I know these guys really well. Get along with them very well. Now, once you get in that manager seat, obviously it's a little different. But I still do believe that connecting on a personal level is really important. These guys need to trust you. They need to believe what you say. And there obviously has to be respect up and down the chain of command. So that stuff I feel like is already intact. So I think there's a lot of benefits to having been here, even though I'm in a different seat now. And relative to the first time I did this, the circumstances are worlds apart. I was coaching high school football for 4 years when I took that job in Colorado, and walked in blind. Really didn't know anything about the team. Didn't know anything about the league. I'd been out of the game. So there was a lot of learning on the fly. And look, this job is never easy, but I'm set up better this time around, having bench coach for 8 years and knowing the club like I do, walking in this time. Yeah.
Hey, Walt. So this is a talk show. We state our opinions, and
Yeah.
every team that doesn't make the playoffs will say, oh, injuries, all that. For me, usually I think there's like a few that can actually really say that. And so last year was, of course, a big part of that, where the rotation was gutted. So then pushing it forward here, you experienced that, of course, last year. What's going on? We got some fluke injuries, some not, the whole deal popping up again. And how do you navigate that? And not just with your team, but also with the front office to see if you guys can do anything.
Yeah, look, it's well documented what we dealt with last year, but every team deals with that to some degree. Last year was tougher for us to overcome it because it was our starting pitching. We lost our entire rotation. So we had a hard time overcoming that. And we got hit with some bad news before camp even started, right at the beginning, with Schwellenbach and Waldrop. So it kind of, the beat goes on. But I got to tell you, man, that the camp has been really focused. I know there's a lot of managers feeling good about their club in March. But the vibe has been great. These guys have been pros. They've dealt with the things we've had to deal with this spring already, like champs. And it's a good group of guys. I think a bunch of guys are primed for bounce backs. Some guys underperformed last year, and they'd be the first to tell you. But yeah, I feel like we're in a really good place, even dealing with the things we've had to deal with. And look, going through that last year, probably make us stronger, But the guys that are healthy on the pitching staff have looked really good this spring, so that makes me sleep a little easier. But I feel good about our club. I do, and I think our offense is going to be good. We underperformed, especially in the first half last year. I feel good about our offense. I think it's going to be a really good lineup and a really lengthy lineup. So I think some things are around and into shape here, but the mentality of the club is really good.
Yeah, speaking of the offensive side, I know for as long as you could remember, the Braves have had a certain way of going about things and having guys go out there and play every single day. Throw Olson out because he's an anomaly. He's got this nice streak going on. But some of these other guys, Ronald, Ozzie, Riley, have you had conversations about maybe getting them off their feet, allowing them to DH, or maybe even just getting them off their feet for a day to try to allow them to stay healthy throughout the whole year?
Yeah, you're right, KP. I mean, and that's been the culture here, and that's a good thing. And these guys love to play; they want to play. You start going around the diamond, and there's some injury history that's starting to mount on most of these guys. Olson being the outlier. So I do think, I'm gonna pick spots to get these guys off their feet, and they're still going to play a lot. They're still going to play, if they're healthy, 150 plus. It's just now I'm not looking for them to play 160 plus. So I think based on schedule, matchups, day after night, struggling, you use your eyes and the information to make those decisions when to give a guy, give him a day before an off day, he gets 2. So all those things I'll take into consideration, but I'm going to pick my spots and give these guys a break here and there.
Hey, Walt, you guys had a DH, former teammate of mine. I've never been more disappointed in someone. I mean, how do you handle the whole Jerks and Profar steroid thing? And just, I hate even bringing it up, but it's something we kind of got to talk about. And it sucks for you to have to deal with. And it sucks that somebody would make a decision like that.
I hear you, AJ. And look, man, I get it. People got asked those questions. And I signed up to sit in this seat and answer them. So, look, nobody saw that coming. Obviously, very disappointed and stunned when we got the news. But, I had some media members asking me, well, you said this guy was a good guy last year. And I said, yeah, I stand by that. I mean, he was a great teammate. When he came back, I said, because of the circumstances last year, he was going to have to win us over and certainly win me over. And he did. I mean, he was a great teammate. He was a leader in our clubhouse. He performed for us. Nobody saw this coming. But, my message to the group was this doesn't change anything about our team as far as getting ready for the 26th season. The camp has been a really good camp. The focus has been outstanding, and that's going to continue. And something good is going to come out of it. I use the example of 2021 when we were under 500 the 1st of August and Ronald Acuna goes down for the rest of the season, tears his ACL. Nobody would have signed up for that, and nobody would have chose that option. Just like we wouldn't choose the Profar option, but we ended up winning a World Series in 21. Those terrible circumstances led to us winning a World Series. So you never know what good news or bad news, what the chain of events are going to be. So I'm expecting guys to step up. I'm expecting guys to shine because of this. And I think the rest of our club is feeling the same way.
Yeah, I mean,
hey, Walt,
obviously you – oh, sorry, go ahead, AJ.
No, sorry. I was just going to ask him, since I played for Snit when Snit first – I was there when Freddie got fired and they brought Snit in. And he was a heavy Bobby Cox. Heavy Bobby Cox. Are you Bobby Cox the same? Like no hats backwards. You have to show the A. You have to put you have to put your glasses on the back of your hat. You have to wear the BP top. I mean, there was no some of these. I mean, listen. However you want to do it. Some teams wear the cutoffs and the T-shirts when they take BP. The Braves are always full uniform. Are you still the same as the way it was with Snit?
Yes. I mean, I played here under Bobby, and those are some time-honored traditions here. And I'm gonna honor those and respect them, and that's out of respect for the Bobby Coxes and the John Sherholtz and all the people that came before us to make this brand mean something special. So it's all about respecting the brand, AJ, and I'm going to continue that. Now, as far as my leadership style, I'm sure that's going to be different. mean, if Snit was taking over for me, I'm sure he'd say the same thing. We're just different people. So the style and the approach to the day is going to be different. But I take things away from all the managers I played for, whether it's La Russa, Bobby Cox, or Renee Latchman, Don Baylor, all these guys, and working for Snit. So I take a little bit from all of them, but at the end of the day, it's my voice, it's my leadership style, and so it'll be different.
I know you only had him a little bit of time here in camp before he went off and played WBC, but what have you seen from Ronald, coming off the second knee surgery? Any restrictions on him moving forward? And obviously tough news with Ha-Seong Kim getting hurt in the offseason. What have you kind of seen from guys that you have brought in to kind of man that shortstop position?
Yeah, first with Ronald's in a good place, man. He's in a really good place. 2 repaired knees. I mean, we could probably rack our brains, the two of us together, been in the game a long time. It's hard to remember a guy that's got both knees repaired in this sport, but he's one of those guys. He's one of the 2 or 3% that's just different, and he loves to play. It's evident when he's on the field, and he's in a really good place. Ronnie, I'm really excited about what's in store for him this year. And the shortstop thing, we have Dubon and Jorge Mateo in camp. Both guys are good big leaguers, and so I think Alex made some sneaky signs over the winter that are going to end up being really important for us, whether it's Dubon and Mateo or Mike Yastrezemski. There's some sneaky signs there, and so I feel good about where we are. And then we get these guys, at some point during the season, hopefully not too late in the season. We talk about Murphy and Ha-Seong Kim. It makes us that much stronger.
How far off is he from coming back? Kim, yeah.
It's tough putting timelines on guys, but we're getting further along now, and it's I would guess it's sometime in May. I don't know if it's when in May, but I think there's a good chance we get him before June.
Hey, well, we didn't get to the other side of Profar being out for the year, just on the field. So how do you plan to handle the DH role? We're kind of talking about playing time and opportunities here, but just wanted to get any specific thoughts about how you see this and how it could help the team, because you might have a little bit more of an open space. It's an easier sell to some of the guys that want to play every day, but you can take them off the field.
Yeah, what I like is we have a really flexible lineup. There's a lot of versatility on the roster, and with the open DH spot, it allows me to keep Baldwin's bat in the lineup. It allows me to give Ronnie a day, get off his legs and the DH. And you can go around the diamond and use that DH spot from time to time. I really like that flexibility. And I think it's going to, in the long run, it's going to pay dividends. But it allows you to create some favorable matchups with your lineup construction and that type of thing. There's a lot of ways you can move these parts around with that DH spot being open. So I really like having that flexibility.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. Being an extra outfielder, when that same lineup is being put out there every day, and you have a staple at DH, it's hard to kind of implement that fourth or maybe fifth outfielder or utility infielder. Is that something just over the last 8 years being a bench coach you've kind of understood, and talked to those guys on the bench about how difficult their job is and finding better ways to kind of insert them in the lineup to keep them fresh? Yeah,
and one of my philosophies is I don't like to leave my bench guys sitting there for 2 weeks without playing, because KP, when we had you toward the end there, and you were in that role some. It's a lot to ask of a guy that hasn't played in 2 weeks, when all of a sudden he has to play for whatever reason, and now you expect him to perform. It's not fair. So I like to keep the bench guys involved. Now it helps that we have a good bench. Well, I think it's probably the best bench that we've had in my 8 years here. This is my 9th year, so it makes it a little easier to be able to play those guys. And the flexibility I talked about, guys are versatile. They play multiple positions. There's a lot of ways we can move this thing around. But I'm a big believer in keeping your bench involved because you're gonna need those guys, and more than likely it's going to be in a big spot or at crunch time or late in the game or whatever. And you can't expect those guys to perform if they haven't been on the field in 2 weeks.
Hey, Walt, can you just hold up your left arm for me like this? Hold on, move it a little bit the other way so we can see it. Did your family yell at you because looks like you have your watch on your right hand? So did you go home and your family yell at you that you got to switch hands because you've got the tan line on the watch?
Yeah. No, you got me, AJ. I mean, my watch is being charged right now, or else you wouldn't see that tan line. I rarely take it off, but good pickup there.
Okay, I didn't know because
eyes of a catcher, man. That's why catchers make great managers. They see the whole field.
Is that why you have a whoop on the other hand? Is that what it is?
I got a whoop, yeah.
That's because that's why you're in such good shape.
Hey, my whoop! I tell you, when my whoop says I'm 10 years younger than I am, so that's what I'm going with 52. I'm 52.
All right, last one. Now, do you know what year you made the All-Star team?
98.
Okay. Do you know the song about the 98 Braves?
Do not.
Oh, so there's a country singer named Morgan Wallen that sings a song called the 98 Braves. Right?
Oh, yes. I have heard that. Yes.
How come you didn't make the song if you made the All-Star team? They got Chipper, Andrew, the big three pitchers, but there's not one mention of Walt Weiss in the song.
For good reason, man. I snuck in it. That was my first All-Star game. I made it at like 35 years old or whatever I was. I had a really good first half that year, and but yeah, I get it. I mean, I wouldn't mention my name amongst those guys either.
Well, if you lead this team to a title, then he's going to have to make a sequel.
That's right.
Then he's going to have to put Walt in.
Then he's going to have to put Walt.
Get him in
That's
there.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll leave that up to you guys.
Can't thank you enough for being here. Yeah, you know, I'm a big fan of yours, a big fan of the Atlanta Braves, and wishing you guys nothing but health first and foremost, and a successful season as well.
Appreciate you, KP. Always good to see you, man. AJ, Bronny, appreciate you, man.
Ooh, this feels like the regular season. BetMGM Locks. We have games tonight. I did a parlay, but I think you guys just focused on one game, which is the marquee game. Team USA playing this evening. What are we thinking?
Listen, I mean, it's the one game I'm definitely going to be tuned into just because it's the biggest game so far to the U.S. for the U.S. I'm just going over 11.5. I know Skeens is pitching for the U.S., but Mexico has a bullpen game. U.S. offense is legit. And after Skeens is Matthew Boyd, fine. But it's, you know, all it takes is like Michael Walker to make one mistake like he did against Brazil. And all of a sudden you give up a 5 spot. And I think the U.S. is going to probably score 7 or 8 in this game. And so I just think they're going to get over 11.5. And it's even money too, which is crazy to me.
There's still a chance the U.S. handles that by themselves.
Well, I didn't say that. You did, Scott.
But there is a chance.
True.
Yeah. Like you said, that offense is stupid.
Stupid good.
It might be stupid and cover it by itself. What do you think, KP?
Well, to the point we talked about earlier in the show, I think these guys are competitive. And I know there's certain guys that are supposed to play and certain guys that are supposed to be secondary guys. But knowing Bobby Witt sitting on the bench the other day watching Gunnar Henderson have 4 hits, you think it's not going to motivate him to go out and try to do something special today? We talked about the pitching matchup for Mexico not being a major league guy. I expect Bobby Witt to not only hit a home run today, but I think he's going to lead off the game with a home run.
Wow. Leadoff home run.
Wow.
Can't get that specific on this one, or maybe on live bets. I haven't checked, but still, that's at plus 400. That's good. That's nice.
Wait, who's the home team? I don't even know.
I don't know.
I have to look.
Yeah, let's look it up.
If you go to schedule, see who.
I am. I'm U.S. is home, so
US
it's going to have to be bottom of the first.
Right.
I mean, who hits leadoff for Mexico?
That's Duran, I believe, right?
No.
Jared Duran?
No, I didn't think it was Duran. Hold on, let me go back here and look. Because I was going to say, are we calling like a first pitch off Paul Skeens, get the tape, homer style, or what?
Like Skubal Eaton?
Yeah.
I mean, not me.
No, I'm just saying, like, are they going to come out? Oh, Duran is hitting leadoff, so
There
yeah.
you go. He could. I mean, yeah, they can hit.
I mean, this lineup is Duran, Arozarena, Aranda, who's, by the way, is very underrated if you haven't
He's
seen him
really
with the
good.
Rays. Kirk, we all saw him. Rowdy, our favorite. Nacho Alvarez Jr., which, by the way, Nacho, awesome
Great
name.
name.
Good Nick Gonzalez, who's a big leaguer. Alec Thomas, big leaguer. And Joey Ortiz hits ninth for him, who the
Big
second
league
half
lineup.
of the year was pretty good. That's a big league lineup.
A pretty good defensive lineup, too.
Yeah.
Some guys that can pick it there.
You think Alejandro Kirk's mad that they haven't asked him to sit out a game yet?
Like he wants to sit
I'm
out a
kidding.
game?
Like,
No freaking way. Especially not this one. Okay, so here's what I'm doing. USA to win, just money line. Just in case it's close. I don't know. Mexico's played them well. And then I'm going to parlay
they've
that.
actually beat him 4 out of 5.
Mexico has.
Yeah.
That's my point. So I'm like, I think they're going to win, but I'm going to money line it. And then I'm going run line Venezuela. It's 4.5 to beat Nicaragua. So I've got Venezuela winning by 5 or more. I think they could mercy rule them. Let's not sleep on a couple other really attractive lineups that I think are going to keep getting better as they're facing pitching that, you know, is I don't want to say it's like spring training, they're not trying, but this is just different, the competitive environment. So I think the lineups are going to start getting even more nuts. So I've got Venezuela handling business with their run line and then just taking a win, playing it safe with USA. That's at minus 107 to win 100. All right, so the world's top stars all going at it in the WBC. You can get in on the action with boosted odds. Activate your odds boost token for any WBC bet, and you'll receive a bigger payout if that bet wins. Gambling problem or concern, there's help. Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Here at Braves camp with one of my favorite teammates of all time, probably the most consistent guy in baseball right now, Matt Olson. Thanks for joining us. My first question, serious question, how thankful, I'm trying to think, you're playing first base, so it would be your left ear, right? How thankful are you that Ozzy's out of here right now and you don't have to hear him chirping all day, every day?
It's weird. I thought I would like it, but, you know, I find myself missing some constant chatter out there.
It's weird too because it comes from a much different angle. You know, it's kind of like from down here up to your ear.
Come on, don't do this to me. I already blast him enough. I don't need extra tape out there. He's going to be upset.
Wait, for the national audience though, like how much talking goes on? Is he the most talkative teammate on the team, and is he funny? Like what is the banter going on there from Ozzy? We've had him on the show a couple times, but to give a glimpse from a teammate.
Yeah, he's the guy that's always talking. You know, he's the English and Spanish guy, so he's the one in the middle, just stirring the pot for everybody. We always hit him with some short jokes, unfortunately for him, but he loves it and he drops it right back to us.
I love it. Hey, Matt, are you watching the WBC closely? Like, are you checking out all the games the last 4 or 5 days?
Yeah, I've been watching them. You know, some of the weird times I haven't seen some stuff, but I've always been seeing clips. Obviously, Ozzy's homer the other day. Actually, we came right out of the game, and as we were walking in, I saw it live. So it was a sick at bat, cool little moment for him. And you know, we talked to him and told him congrats.
So I mean, I've been in this clubhouse. I know how tight you and Austin are, how you guys do a lot of things together. Is there anything that you could kind of teach him, or I know you've probably tried to teach him, but is there anything that you could kind of share with him that's allowed you to be so consistent on the field? Obviously, he's had some injuries over the last couple of years. Because when you two are out there, I mean, arguably the best, you know, corner in baseball.
You know, Rouse is pretty good about his stuff. It's not any secret pill I got. You know, I say that playing first base is a lot of what allows me to be on the field. You know, 2 years ago, he got hit in the hand with a 98-mile-an-hour sinker and missed some time. And last year, the hernia stuff, something he tried to get through and just, you know, came back out and couldn't do it. Had to get it, you know, surgically repaired. But when that guy's on the field, he's one of the best in the game on all sides of the ball. He can run, he can hit, he can field. He's just a special talent, and you know, always forget how much younger than me he is. He's been doing it for so long that, and he's such a mature guy that he feels like, somebody around my age, but still a younger guy and a lot left to do in this league.
Matt, you mentioned wanting to play. Dude, you're going for Cal Ripken's streak here. You've got 4 straight years, 162. You only have like 15 more years to go. You think you're going to make it?
Yeah, I think I'm going to be on a golf course somewhere by the time that it gets close at all. It is kind of crazy. It puts it into his streak into perspective a little bit. I feel like I've been out there every day for a while, and I'm not even sniffing him.
How was the golf game, by the way? Because I've been out there with you, and I mean, there's some moments.
I show flashes. It's enough to keep me coming back. I'll pop a 80 one day and then a 95 the next.
Obviously new manager here, familiar face. What's it been like with Walt being the head of this ship, and has it been any different than you thought it would be?
No, Walt's been great. I mean, Walt from being here, but just all-time guy. Somebody who's obviously grew up in kind of that older school era, but he's got sons who are playing now, so he understands kind of the newer stuff, and just the proper blend between the two. I think he says it great. He talks about it, the analytics and the video and all that stuff being tools, but when it's time to go play, you go play. And I just love Walt's relationship with everybody, and he was a grinder when he played. He was intense dude, and I think that he's going to bring a little edge to us.
Yeah, being around you, being your teammate, I know how much you take pride in knowing the strike zone, and I know how frustrating it could be sometimes when you feel like you're right, and obviously the umpires have a difficult job to do, but how have you liked the ABS system, and how do you feel like you're going to implement it this year?
Yeah, it's been good. I won one. My only challenge, I won. It was really close, and probably shouldn't do that during the season. I'm still trying to kind of get a feel for it. Got punched out on one the other day, so that was a little difficult to sit there while I'm waiting to see if I'm going to walk back to the dugout. But I think it's good. I think once we get into the swing of things, it's just going to take away the big misses. There's going to be guys that challenge stuff and they're going to get it wrong, but I feel like, you only get 2. They're so important that guys are going to put it in their pocket if it's a borderline pitch. And like I said, kind of just take away the big misses.
Has there been a conversation yet about how you guys are going to use them? Is that a conversation you have with, your hitting coaches, Walt? Do you guys sit down as offense and go, these are the times we use it? Or is it something where you feel like you're going to get freedom until maybe Ronald uses it the first pitch of the game? And you're like, okay, come on, Ronald.
No, I mean, we haven't had a, sit down and clear cut what we're going to do. I think for now it's like err on the side of just going for it if you feel it, to kind of get a feel for it. I'm sure at some point we'll kind of figure out if we want to have any strategy involved with it. I'm sure probably here, and I would guess around the league, that a lot of pitchers won't have as much freedom with it. I think most pitchers that I've talked to want to leave it in the hands of the catcher. As far as us at the plate, I think we're just kind of get a little feel for it, and I think some guys are going to be good, some guys are going to be bad, and you might lose your privileges if you get a couple wrong.
Mine would be taken immediately. I had a bad feel for the strike zone.
They're keeping stats on that too. I mean, you saw, right, yeah. Matt? I mean, they've got the stats down. StatCast has it up, for every player. So eventually you guys will be able to make fun of each other on that one too, and also make real strategic decisions on who seriously is allowed to use it and not.
Yeah, tie somebody's hand behind their back.
Yeah, exactly. Did you see, by the way, the Brewers and how they were trying to get the signals going, and then like a day later, the league was like, nah, we're not doing that. We're not doing the dugout signals.
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
You saw,
from
right?
the
I didn't
dugout.
see it. No.
You guys didn't see this?
Mm-mm.
KP, you didn't see this either?
I think I saw something on it. I think there was like, weren't
What,
they holding
Murph
signs
have
up,
like red or
challenge
blue
your
cards,
touchdown?
red or
Yes.
green cards?
They had
Yeah.
cards, and the league said no.
How quick do they have to be with the cards?
I don't know. It was the whole situation was so quick, and I didn't watch the game, but I did see a story a day later that said they are not allowed to do that. No signaling of any kind. I don't
Leave
know
it
if
to
it
Murph.
was during AB, Matt, or even just they were putting stuff up for scenarios. Like, hey, we don't want you to do this. I don't know, maybe entering the AB, they look at the dugout to see. I don't know. But of course, green card up meant it was an okay time to challenge getting the slab as we go here. And the league was like, no cards from the dugout. We're not doing audibles football style with signals. So
Our
good
team's
thing. You
hiring
guys didn't
those
even talk
guys?
about
'Cause
that
I'm
and throw that
available.
out there. What?
They said our team's hiring those guys because I'm available. I'll sit in the dugout and hold a green or yellow card.
But you said you weren't good enough at it, so they need some. They're going to bring somebody.
I
out
could
that
tell
was
you
the
it's a
walk
good time to
machine.
challenge. I'm not going to tell you if it's a ball or strike, but I'll tell you it's a good time to go.
Matt. Hey, Matt. What happens if you guys run out of challenges? Do you think the umpire will be like, you know what? Screw these guys. They messed up twice. I'm just going to widen the strike zone, and we're going to go back like it used to be.
I mean, I'd be lying if I said it didn't cross my mind. Maybe if we challenge a couple just egregious ones that they got right in the first 2 innings, and he wants to stick it to us for the next 7. I don't know. I don't actually think that they're going to be doing that, but I don't know. Hopefully we don't run into some of those old school zones that you were getting when you were first up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was a little different. It was a little bit different. We didn't have the little box, and we didn't have it. It was literally the umpire would just say, hey, like my hands are this wide. I'm calling this wide today, right? There was no box, and we didn't get reports on the umpire. It was like, this guy has a big zone or this guy has a small zone. And first inning, you figure it out and say, better swing today, boys, because they would tell you. The umpires would tell you. They'd say, hey, it's a day game. I have an early dinner or early flight. Swing, because I'm calling everything. And they called everything.
Yeah.
Hey, at this point in time in your career, you get down here for spring training. What are the things that you kind of want to accomplish? Do you know how many at-bats you want to take? Or is it just kind of experience the first things, like get the 2 strikes, maybe, drive a ball, hit a ball the opposite way, and then you're kind of like, hey, let me just get out of here healthy?
I think the later I've gotten in my career, the more that I try to get as many at bats as I can. I feel like the 40 to 50 number is kind of the sweet spot. Obviously, don't want to go just blow it out for 9 innings every game with the season coming up, but luckily we get live ABs before the games actually start. We got the traject up now, so there's never been an easier time to kind of get at bats without getting into the whole playing so much every single day. But it's the most important thing is always going to be getting at bats, seeing pitching, seeing arms. I wouldn't say there's one thing that, if I do it, I'm like, all right, I'm good to go, just because each day is so different. But staying healthy and getting at bats are the 2 main checkpoints.
Hey, Matt, last one I have for you. I got to do my classic A's question, but this is a fun one for you. Have you seen them handing out extensions left and right? Things have changed. I mean, for Sacramento, eventually Vegas, they've locked up like 3-4 guys, and there might be 1 or 2 more. But by the time we get to opening day, you're like, damn, where was that?
Yeah, got a new stadium coming. Gotta have somebody there,
Yeah, you just see. I mean, there's a lot of guys, and I'm saying guys that are just 5 seconds into the bigs too. You saw like Jack Wilson, like left and right, or Jacob Wilson, Jack's kid, left and right. They're signing guys early, and Nick Kurtz might be next.
Yeah, I mean they got a good core, good young core there. I think it's good to see that. I think they're all probably you'd classify them as team friendly deals. It's young guys getting some some comfortability with a deal before they get too old, and the team's kind of taking a chance and saying I might be able to save some money. So I think it's a win-win for them. I think it's good that they're going to have some guys there for multiple years. Obviously, we know the turnover there. So, those guys have earned it, and happy for the guys who are, getting that, those deals and some assurance.
Hey, you got
Yeah,
yours.
last one. Oh, yeah,
I mean,
last one for me.
I mean, hey,
Yeah, no, it
worked
did
out.
eventually. Right, exactly.
It worked out for
No,
you.
You wouldn't change
Yeah.
history.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, I got traded.
And he's
No
playing-
offense to
and he's
Oakland or
playing at
Sacramento
home.
to Atlanta, where
Right.
you're from,
He's
and then you
playing
got
at
the big
home.
contract. Yeah.
Oh, I got no complaints.
He's got no
mean, it
complaints.
it's
He's
right.
living at home. He's only got to pack one time a year.
Yeah, it's probably costing him. It's probably costing him money in tickets though, because I'm sure every Parkview Panther wants to come watch you play all the time.
They've actually been pretty good to me. And, most people were Braves fans before me, so they found their way to Truist themselves. So
Yeah, last one for
Nice.
me. I'm just going to ask you about Traject, how much you use it, how much do you feel like it's kind of – I feel like pitching's always been ahead of hitting in terms of the technology that they had. Do you feel like it's kind of closed that gap a little bit, allowed the hitter to prepare for the pitcher even more?
I love it. We got it halfway through last year, and just the ability to go see some shape from the guy. It's you can go in there and hit the machine all you want. If you're facing somebody with a nasty breaking ball, or and obviously Traject's going to have a little variability to it. It's not perfect, but you can go in there, hit all his pitches, and then step out and say, all right, pitch me like you think they're going to pitch me today, and take an at bat. And I love doing it, especially now, to be able to kind of get some at bats off guys on days you're not playing, and people you're going to face during the season, but then during the year go in and hit in the cage, and then face that guy for see 30 pitches off of him before you actually go face him. I think it's invaluable.
Well, I can't thank you enough for coming on. I think this is your foul territory debut.
No,
It's not. It's not. You've been on before.
I've been on before.
Yeah.
Oh, well, first time with me, but I'm
KP. Last time
I'm-
he came on, he was in like a broom closet though, so we're very happy we got
upgraded.
him out of the broom
Yeah,
closet.
we got an official setup for once.
Yeah, official
Yes,
setup.
exactly.
And by the way, this guy's cooking me dinner after the game today, so I'm going to report back on his cooking skills too.
Yeah,
Good luck, Matt. What are you making?
we're gonna make a little tacos. Got some steak marinating, some chicken. There's gonna be like 8 kids running around, so we're not gonna get too fancy with it.
Yeah, kid friendly.
Good. Well, we appreciate you, Matt. Thank you so much for joining us. Good luck this season. We'll be talking.
Thanks, fellas.
Hey, the Foul Territory Spring Training Tour is engineered by Fastenal, where industry meets innovation. We love you, Fastenal, for hooking us up with help on this spring training tour. Look how much damage we've already done. This is week 4, the beginning of week 4 out of the 5-week tour. After Braves camp, Tuesday Rays, Wednesday Orioles, Twins on Thursday, Red Sox Friday, and then 4 more camps next week. A lot of action going on. Okay, let's talk more about the Atlanta Braves in this season preview. Okay, KP, you recently played for this team. AJ did at one point too. Let's get both of your thoughts on if the Braves can bounce back in 2026. It was a bad year for them, and it was full of injuries. We've talked about it with many of their players. Let's look at additions and subtractions for this team and figure out if they did enough. Robert Suarez joining Raisel Iglesias in the back end of the bullpen. Ha-Seong Kim is going to be out for a while. It sounds like at least maybe a couple months. And then Mike Yastrezemski added to this team. Jerkson Profar is gone for the year with the PED suspension. Charlie Morton's gone now. Although, he wasn't with them last year, was he? No,
Charlie was.
He came back. He came back at the end of the year.
Oh,
he finished
He came back at the end of
with
the year.
them. Yeah.
That's right.
I forgot. Good call. And then Ozuna is gone, who they really liked in the clubhouse. Obviously, he's had his off-the-field stuff, but he's now with the Pirates. So add and subtract, and also KP subtract some starters already from the beginning of the season here, including Spencer Schwellenbach and Hurston Waldrop. Do you think the Braves are going to be able to keep up with teams like the Phillies and Mets and maybe even the Marlins?
I mean, walking around camp, I saw a couple other names too that weren't listed on what we just showed there. Guys like Carlos Carrasco and Martin Perez. Those guys might be needed early in the year to kind of fill in for some of the injuries in the starting pitching. But it's never a matter of question of the talent that this team puts together. When you look at this team on paper, they have to be one of the favorites in the division. This team is built to win. They've been built to win over the last couple of years. It's just a matter of they could stay healthy. I mean, just out of the chute, you're missing two of your starting pitchers. Murphy's on the shelf. Ha-Sung Kim gets injured, slipping on ice. But what they did do is they brought in some depth. They brought in guys like Jorge Mateo and Mauricio Debont that are able to kind of fill in that shortstop position. I love the addition of Mike Yastrezemski. I think he's a tremendous player. I think he's going to add some power from the left side to that lineup. He plays a really good left field. But when you look at that, first four names in that lineup with Ronald Acuna, Drake Baldwin coming off the Rookie of the Year season he had, Matt Olson, Austin Riley, when these guys are healthy, how could you not love this team?
Yeah, I'm just surprised when you look at those numbers, the OPS plus, Albies and Michael Harris are in the 80s. I mean, I know Michael got off to a bad start last year, but man, I thought he caught up. And Ozzy Albies, 88 or 89.
He had a rough year.
I know, but
both of them picked it up as the season went on.
But still, that's
the
just not
slumps were long. They were prolonged.
Just not something that you would expect if you look at when you think of this Braves team, right? And Drake Baldwin had an unbelievable year as Rookie of the Year last year. The key for me is the pitching. The bullpen is fine. Iglesias, they brought in Suarez, some of the other guys they're bringing back. The starters, Chris Sale, and then Strider. What are they getting out of Strider? Ronaldo Lopez, what are they getting out of him? Bryce Elder, Grant Holmes, what are they getting out of there? I know they have Martin Perez, like KP said, and Carlos Carrasco, but those aren't really guys you're counting on to win you a division, are you? Especially in a division with the Phillies and the Mets. And the Marlins, who have the best pitching in the world, I've been told many times by people in the chat. So I don't want to forget about the Marlins, who have 49 pitchers in their organization.
AJ's never going to forget unless they finish number one in starting pitching ERA. But
no, pitching, they have to have the Marlins have to have never give up a run.
Yeah.
Ever. Because according to people in the chat, KP, when we talked about the Marlins one day, they're like, the Marlins have so much starting depth pitching and they're never going to run out. I'm like, okay, we'll see.
I'm worried, KP, that the Braves are going to run out. We haven't started the season yet, and there is significant trouble for this rotation.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely relying on a guy like Chris Sale, who's obviously not getting any younger, but he's still elite at what he does. But at some point, Father Time is going to catch up. It might not be this year or next year, but at some point it is. And there's still a little bit of concern about Spencer Strider. Is he able to pitch without the velocity? Is the velocity to come back? Ronaldo Lopez pretty much missed the entire year last year. They say he's healthy around here. I was out there talking to some guys, and he looks like he's in great shape and he's healthy, but he did miss an entire year. So how many innings is he going to be able to give you? I mean, up until recently, he was a guy who was pitching out of the bullpen. So the starter workload is still something we still have to figure out if he can handle year in and year out. And then you look at the two guys at the bottom of that list, and like you said, you're trying to win a division here. Is it enough starting pitching? At some point, they are going to get those other two guys back. Do the Braves go out and try to acquire another starting pitcher? They save some money with Profar, missing the entire season to the suspension. Do they go out and try to acquire someone out? Grant Holmes has been great for them too, but he's also coming off a injury at the end of last year. How healthy is he? Is he durable? Is he going to be able to hold up? And Bryce Elder, one of my good friends, and teammate from 23, who was an all-star, has, he's had his ups and downs. He's shown signs of being a really good fifth starter in the major leagues, and he even pitched to an all-star level. But you're talking about an NL East that's a juggernaut with a lot of talent and really good arms and really good offenses. Do they have enough? I think offensively they do. I think defensively they do. The question is going to be, do they have enough starting pitching? And the beautiful thing is they have a really good bullpen. They have a lot of depth in that bullpen. So maybe it takes the workload off of some of these guys. Can they get them through, 5-6 innings, maybe even 4 1/3, with some of these guys? Because you look at that bullpen and there's some power arms, and even a guy like Joey Wentz went down. So they're already going into the depth of their organization. At some point, it may be too much to overcome, but from everything I heard talking to guys out there, I think, Joey Wentz, avoided serious injury. I don't know what his status is, if he's going to be ready for opening day, but it's just been kind of a tough couple of years for the Atlanta Braves with the injury bug.
I don't use this word very often on our show because I think it gets overplayed and every player and team deals with it, especially early on in the season. And I hate when reporters ask it over and over again. But I do feel like the pressure meter for the Braves is high. They have all of this core locked up, right? They should all be in their primes right now. Most fans have experienced a lot of winning over the past decade there, right? A lot of success, a lot of playoff appearances. There's a World Series mixed in there. The team profits a lot. That's public. Mm-hmm. That's known. They've got an awesome surrounding with the battery. It gets talked about all the time. So you add all of that up, and fans are expecting a winner. Like last year, they were all over the team. And I was one, I remember, I went on one of the local radio shows for a spot, and I'm like, fans are kind of jaded. Like, it sucks. They've had a bad year, but they've had many other good ones. And I was like feeling it on socials. People are like, how dare you, blah, blah. I'm like, relax. There are many other fan bases that would trade places with this fan base in a heartbeat.
And they won a World Series a couple years ago, too, right? Don't forget.
21 in 2021. It's not like it's been that long, but fans are hungry and they see what they have right now and feel like they're in their winning window. And I don't know how they feel about the offseason. Robert Suarez, awesome. I love the move, but most fans felt like they deserved one more starter. The team kind of hinted at that, then they shied away from that. And now I think they probably wish they could go back to the start of the offseason and grab another starting pitcher.
Yeah, I think they need their starter short, maybe two starters short, depending on how the health holds up with the rest of the starters. So I love the lineup if the lineup's right. That's the thing. Their lineups have been so up and down because remember they signed all these guys and everyone's like, oh, they have the greatest lineup of all time. And then they've just kind of gone flat a little bit. And it's weird to say that because of all the people they have on this team. So, and then you look at, listen, Mauricio Dubon is a nice utility kind of player, but is he an everyday shortstop? I mean, that's, why
you get overexposed a little too. He hasn't really played every day like that.
Yeah, and then Dom Smith, I mean, that 114, but I mean, again.
It's small sample size and all that.
That's picking the right matchup for the guy to play. It's not an everyday player. So his lineup is very top-heavy for me. The bullpen is going to be good, I feel like, with Suarez, Iglesias, and the rest of the crew down there. I just worry after Sale Strider's still only throwing like 93. Like he was 99 to 100 before, don't forget. So worry about that a little bit. Where's Lopez? I don't know. Listen, I'm a Braves fan. I grew up a Braves fan, so I always want the Braves to do well. It was my last team I played for. I still know a lot of people there, so I still like a lot of the people there. I want them to do well. I just think that National League East is tough.
It's really tough. And if someone told you, hey, Braves don't make it again, you wouldn't be surprised.
No, I could see this team winning 90 games if everything goes perfect, and I could see them winning 75 games if it all doesn't go right.
See, that would be a tornado in Atlanta. Fans would lose their minds if they put together another season like that this coming season.
I mean, I couldn't agree with you more, AJ. I think this team has the makings of winning the division, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they finish third in this division too. And a lot of it is so predicated on the health of this team. I was with them in 2023 and the entire team stayed healthy. And historically, it was one of the best offenses that, up until that time. I think we were the first team to hit over 300 home runs. And it was just like everything the lineup just worked. Everyone had great years. Everyone fed off each other. Everyone knew their role. Things were rolling. I think we won like 4 or 5 games that year. Everyone in the starting rotation, for the most part, stayed healthy. There was a little bit of a, part of the bullpen that wasn't as strong, and I think it got exposed a little bit in the postseason. But it's such a mystery right now because they've just, they're coming off a bad year. They're obviously motivated and hungry, but going into spring training, with the additions of Ha-Seong Kim playing shortstop too, some of the young starting pitching that they developed, on paper, it looked like this was the team to beat in the division. And already you're down 4 or 5 players, we're only a couple weeks into camp. So I think the offense is going to have to carry this team. And hopefully you get guys like we talked about on that bottom half of that order, the Ozzy Albies of the world, to kind of bounce back. And just be the normal Ozzie Albies. I don't think he has to be anything better than, what he had been in the past. I just don't think this team could afford him being, a guy, with in the 80s in his WRC plus. But yeah, I mean, it's a tough one to predict, and I think last year, you talk about how you can't win or lose a division in April and in the beginning of the year. This team had no life after, those first 7 games of the year. It was a hard thing for them to overcome. So hopefully they learn a lot from that, and definitely a tough trip they had last year going to the West Coast, playing the Padres, the Dodgers, and I think they even came home and started with the Phillies. So hopefully they have a little bit of an easier schedule to start. They get off on the right foot. But a lot's going to be relied on, that left arm of Chris Sale to, pick this team up in a big way.
They do, by the way. We can finish with this. Their first series is at home against the Royals. And
I'm there.
You're there for that Saturday game, right?
For the Saturday game, yeah.
Then they stay home for the A's. And then, I'm not going to go through everything, but there's some Angels mixed in there early on.
It's a little different than last year.
Last year,
Dodgers, Padres on the West Coast to start coming from Florida.
Yeah.
Right? Oof.
On the road, coming from Florida against the Dodgers and Padres, now home against the Royals and the A's. Not that they're bad teams. It's just that's a big difference. Yeah. They're not going to start 0-6.
Are they going to – the biggest question for me is are they better than the Mets and the Phillies with the injuries that are constructed right now? I say no.
For me, definitely not the Phillies. The Mets is, they're one of those high ceiling, low floor teams.
They're Braves.
Right. It's like the Braves. But for me right now, heading into the season, I kind of have them.
Sorry.
I have them third. But I think it's really close.
Sorry. We're talking Braves. Fernando Tatis just hit a grand slam.
Yeah.
In the WBC. He's just now rounding second. I mean, wow.
How long ago did he hit that home run? How long did it take
10 minutes
him to
ago?
get second base?
When we started the segment.
Second base?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then now we're going to end the segment because we got to get to our next combo. So
Apologies.
Let's do that right now.
Excited to be here in Braves camp with one of my good friends, Austin Riley. I think this is your foul territory debut.
Yeah.
I guess my first question to you is, you're healthy. And if so, what have you really changed this offseason in order for you to be healthy?
It was really just, I'm not getting any younger, trying to just, obviously with the sports hernia, it was more about just like staying mobile, flexible, kind of tailoring my workouts towards that with the lower abdomen injury. But feel good, feel like I'm in a really good spot. Was able to actually have, the year before I broke my hand and was in a cast for 14 months, or 14 weeks, and really didn't have a full off season. So being able to have like a true full off season, kind of do what I normally do to prep for spring and season was nice.
All right, Austin, I'm going to ask you a big picture question. So for the Braves, they've had a really successful run. Team makes the playoffs every year except last year for a while now. They won the World Series in 2021. Do you feel like the expectations for this franchise have reached a crazy level because of the success that's happened? Like last year, of course, you don't want the team to go through that. But
yeah,
if you look at most franchises, they don't have this kind of run and this kind of expectations anymore.
No, I mean, I think it's a good spot to be in, right? Being able to come in every year and expect to make a deep run and expect to win. I think you put yourself in a good spot. I think the last couple of years with injuries and then not performing, I think it I don't want to say it happens, but this is a tough game, and you guys know how tough it is, and how so many things have to go right for you to make a deep run. So no, I think it's a great thing. I think so. I mean, we play the game to try to win a World Series, and guys want to be on teams that are going to do that, are going to make moves and do things to try to win. So.
I'm glad to be here and have that expectation of winning every year.
Yeah, speaking of expectations, you got a new manager, familiar face. What has kind of been his message? How have you seen it a little bit different? Obviously I was here a couple years ago with Snit, Walt being part of his staff. What was kind of his first day of camp message? How things are going to be very similar but yet different?
Yeah, I think for me the big thing with Walt is just the attention to detail that I think he shows, and this, he understands, he's played the game, so he understands how hard it is, and showing up every day, and the camp vibe this year has been very high energy, lot going on, which I think has been great. Just kind of like I said, I feel like this organization knows how to win, and I think after the last couple of years, just to shake up a little bit, just like bringing some guys in with a lot of energy, and Walt's showing that. Like I said, the camp's been great. He's very knowledgeable of the game, and I think it's been unbelievable so far with Walt.
Hey, Austin, when that was all going down, and when we've spoken to Walton, and even right around when it happened, when he was hired, it took a little bit of time. Did you have any conversations with Alex Anthopoulos or anyone else? Did they consult with some of the vets on Walt and just the process?
Did not. No, not during the process. Like I said, Alex has asked me, just getting, asking us players about Walt, and like I said, nothing but good things to touch on Walt. Like I said, I think there's two ways you could go into. You could stay in house, and you could gone outside and got somebody else. And for me, if we were going to stay inside, it was Walt for me. I thought that was a no-brainer.
How different is Walt from Snit?
Snit's very, there's a lot of similarities there. He's going to let you do your thing. He trusts in his players of coming in spring training and preparing each and every day. He's not going to go out there and kill us. But like I said, I think that the energy, a level of we're doing some different things as far as like with the new staff also, of just, I think from us standpoint, we can improve, base running. We're doing situational defensive stuff to just kind of hone in on those in-game plays that you don't, they happen once or twice a year. So I think, just like I said, that to me, that's been the biggest difference is just, like I said, just the little stuff that, you typically don't touch on, but we're making sure we're checking those boxes and making sure that we're as prepared as we can be for the season.
Austin, do you mess with Walt at all? Because he's like a quadruple black belt in jiu-jitsu, right?
I do not.
So you stay far away from him?
Yeah, I keep the peace for sure. I tell you, if we get into something during the season, I'll be right there behind him or next to him, because I would not want to mess with him. I've seen his workouts in the gym. He gets after it pretty good.
Hey, I've seen things Walt talked about. For a long time, the Braves way has been playing 162 games. And obviously you have Olson, who's been able to do it. Is that something you're open to if you feel like it's something that's going to keep you healthy, maybe taking an occasional day off? Or do you still have this mindset of, I want to play 162?
For me, I think I would, I'm okay if they decide to give me a day or two here and there to DH. I just coming off the last couple of years with injuries. But the mindset and the goal and the preparation of how I've done everything leading up to this point, it's to play 162. I think that's just, to me, the only way to do it. I think if you're preparing to play 110 games or 120, I think you're kind of setting yourself up for not failure, but just, not prepared enough. I think, like I said, you got to prepare for 162 games. And we'll see how the season goes. But like I said, right now my body feels really good. And in 21, 22, 23 played right around 162. So kind of I personally want to get back to that.
And then obviously with some of the moves that have happened and not bringing back a guy like Ozuna,
yeah,
with Murphy being hurt.
Yeah.
The DH is obviously kind of be a rotating door that's just going to
Right.
give you the opportunity to go DH some days, get off
Yeah,
your feet
for
a little
sure.
bit.
And like you said, you take Murphy, you take, I think it'd be really good for Ronald, like I said, with the knee injuries and how hard he plays when he's out there. You definitely want his bat in the lineup every day. But like I said, if that's something that you could give him, get him off his feet a little bit on, everybody knows how hot, a 11:30 July game in Atlanta can be. So I think that like I said, leaving that open a little bit for those, those guys, I think will be good for us.
Hey, Austin, what is your level of dislike for your divisional opponents, especially some of the rivals that you guys have gone back and forth with? I'm always curious. Like last year is a good example because, like we talked about, it was finally a year the team didn't make the playoffs. So were you like, haha, when, say, the Mets collapsed late? Or, how deep does it go? Do you want them to not succeed at all? Because some guys have to do that for that to be in their head that, like, hey, I face these guys all the time. I live for them losing.
No, I mean, being in a division, I don't want them to win for sure. I mean, I think that's the obvious. I definitely want to be the team that wins the division and want to beat them every time we play them. I mean, it's that simple. I do not want to lose to them. Want to be ahead of them in standings. I think that you ask anybody that's anywhere else, they're going to say the same thing. But at the same time, I absolutely love going to New York and I love going to Philly and playing in those atmospheres. The hostility there is unmatched. Their fans do not like us whatsoever. So, I definitely look forward to going to those cities and playing. It's fun baseball.
Austin, you mentioned, you're healthy this offseason. With all this crazy things that have been happening to the pitchers, have the position players put a wall up of like plastic between you guys and the pitchers? Because I have never seen a run of crazy things happen to a group of players like what's already happened to the Braves pitching staff.
It's crazy. And, I don't know what's going on. That's why I grew the hair out, why I've grown the beard out a little bit, just trying to change the mojo up a little bit. Of something. So like I said, I've never seen anything like it. I get that injuries are part of the game and it's going to happen. And I know pitching from, today's pitching is all about velo and spin and strikeouts. And so, we're I don't know if we're putting up a barrier or not, but we're definitely trying to avoid that as much as possible.
All right, before we let you get out of here, tell us a little bit about your golf tournament that's coming up this year.
Yeah, so we're doing it. Believe it's April 27th. We got an off day. I like to always do it because I like the guys if they want to come out. They and I hate getting traveling from a road city and then having an off day trying to ask guys. You get in at 2:00. So I think we're home off day and then home again. Atlanta Athletic Club. We're teaming up with the Warriors Alliance this year, and for me, it's just the veterans. Trying to put them on the front board of what they do for our country. I think they get put on the back burner a lot, and trying to just raise awareness. My team does an unbelievable job of putting on the event, and thanks to them, and it's gonna be fun. It always is. This is the 4th year doing it. It seems like it gets better and better each year, so I'm excited.
Austin, do you invite alumni to your golf tournament, or is it just Chipper and Smoltz? Is it just Chipper and Smoltz? Some of us won the 2015 Braves Player of the Year. So I mean, you would feel like that should get me invited to your golf tournament.
We will reach out. More than welcome to come.
I mean, Greg Walker is one of your biggest fans. I've known him since I was 25 years ago now. So I mean, you figured I'd earn me an invite somehow.
We got you.
All right.
Hey, last one before I get you out of here. I know it's probably a little quieter around here with Ozzie being gone.
Yeah.
Did you call him after his walk-off?
I think somebody was on FaceTime with him. We were messing with him. I was like, that was about the littlest league jump on home plate that I've ever seen. No, that was awesome. That was a great swing.
Great moment for him and his country. Yeah, but we ragged him a little bit. That was good.
Well, we can't thank you enough for being here. You, one of my favorite teammates of all time, one of the
Appreciate
best
it.
humans in all of baseball, and stay healthy because we love watching you play. One of the
Appreciate it.
best third basemen in the game when healthy. So we appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
In the weeds, let's dive into more on the World Baseball Classic. We talked Team USA, and now let's get into everything else. And yes, you can catch all of the action on Fox 1. Japan is the first team that knew that they were going to advance and head over to the States and play in the quarters. Korea also now advancing. That was the fresh one where it was actually really unique.
It was a run differential.
Yeah.
They had to win by
Run
5
quotient.
runs, and they did win by 5 runs. And
They got it.
Australia just needed to score a run like in the bottom of the 9th. The whole thing is crazy. That's crazy.
It is crazy.
But it's awesome. But I can't wait. I'm excited. I told you on Fox.
You've got
Next
Ohtani.
Saturday, I get Japan
Mm-hmm.
for the quarterfinals, no matter what. So that place is going to be crazy. Whoever they put, I mean, it lines up Dominican or Venezuela more than likely. So it's going to be awesome.
There's Yoshida, who's had a big series or a big tournament.
It's a cool picture, by the way.
So far, it is a very cool picture. Yeah, Japan won it last time around. I mean, that lineup is really good. They actually had a tough test. They only beat Australia by a run.
Yeah,
Australia
Korea
had
hung in
them
there with them
back
for a
and
while
forth.
too.
Korea hung around with them for a minute. But I feel like they're going to be able to win close games.
I used this analogy the other day for some of these teams, and KP, tell me what you think. It's like a college football team. It's a top 10 team. We name whatever one you want to name. Playing a Samford or a Mercer or a mid-major-ish team, right? Yeah, they can score on the opening touchdown, opening drive, because they scheme up some funky plays that the big team hasn't really focused on. But then over the time, the depth just wears them down, and that's what happens when you get into some of these bullpens. They just don't have the depth of the. Basically, it's about big 5 teams, I would say: U.S., Japan, Korea, Dominican, Venezuela, and maybe Mexico-ish, or the big 6 maybe. Because even if you look at Puerto Rico, they don't have the pitching depth that a lot of the other teams have. So eventually, they just get to them, and then they walk a couple guys. They get to some younger guys, and then boom, someone hits a home run, and the game's over. It's a great tournament. I love it. It's so fun for the fans, but I wish some of the other teams were better. It would be even more fun.
Well,
I mean, I don't think they can. I don't think they can loosen the rules anymore in terms of.
No, I know. I'm not saying that.
No, I'm saying that for the teams you qualify for. So I think players have the ability to play for multiple different countries now, as you've seen multiple players that play for multiple countries. So, baseball is just not the same in every country we go to. But I do love your analogy with a top 10 team playing a mid-major. That's kind of the way this tournament plays out early in the year. I do think you see the occasional upset because a lot of these teams will play down to their competition a little bit. But I think we're getting to the point, especially with the USA game today, where they knew eventually they could just turn it on and beat the first 2 teams they played. You play down to your competition a little bit. You're fresh out of spring training. Your timing's not quite there. You do face the unique guy who is actually throwing under the comfortable hitting speed for a lot of these guys. It works for a little bit of time, but eventually the good teams, the great teams are going to wear down these smaller teams that just don't have the depth. But this is where the tournament gets really exciting. The players have more at-bats under their belt. Pitchers have more innings logged. Everything starts to sharpen a little bit, and the competition turns up a little bit. And you start to see a team like USA play up to their competition with a team in Mexico today. And I think it can end up being a very one-sided game. I think you knew Japan was going to be there. I think you knew Korea was going to be there. It's a shame with some of the insurance things and the health things that happen to some of the Puerto Rican players too, because you could put them in that category of a team that you expect to kind of be in that second round of this tournament. But it's really going to come down to about 4 or 5 teams. They have enough depth to kind of withstand, the way this tournament is set up.
How much circling in the lineup and avoiding should teams do with Ohtani? There are other good names in that lineup.
I'd say who wouldn't be
finally
afraid
went
of
hitless.
Who wouldn't be afraid of
twice.
Ohtani? Poland. Team Poland would not be afraid of Ohtani.
It's never going to happen, or at least not right now.
I mean, don't say never.
Not never, but well.
I tell you what team's never going to be in it, Team New Jersey. So let's not say Poland's
not
never
a
going to be
country.
in it, though.
You're not taking a shot at me. I identify with many different states.
Okay, well,
I like
I'm not
Jersey,
touching
I
that
like
one,
New York,
but-
I like Florida.
who do you pitch around? That's the problem with some of these lineups. Who do you like? USA, who do you pitch around? Japan, who do you pitch around? Dominican, who do you pitch around? Venezuela, who do you pitch around?
For
Even
me-
Mexico's lineup, who do you pitch around?
For me, Ohtani for Japan. I mean,
You just don't let Ohtani beat you, so he walks and he's still second, and then the next guy bunts him over, and then the guy hits sac fly, you're down 1-0.
sometimes. Do you disagree? Because there's 5 or 6 other names that you feel good about. So, but like,
I mean, the thing is, they have a lot of lefties. So if you could have a nasty lefty, that's why Skubal makes so much sense in the finals because they have so many lefties that you can, if you can neutralize them with a lefty, because they have a ton of left-handed hitters in that lineup. Not that Skubal, I mean, he's split neutral because of the changeup. But anyways.
but still, yeah, it would help. So,
And by the way, Mark, I know New Jersey's not a country, so don't say the Polish guy thinks New Jersey is a country. Okay, so
well, you have to.
I mean, come on. You think I don't know? You guys wish New Jersey was a country, and it would
really
be,
don't.
and we would make you guys secede from the union if it was a country.
I don't want any of that. I love my country. I love USA. But anyway, the last point I wanted to make was yes, we didn't see any upsets yet, but I mean, Japan is a good example. Like we were very close there, a 4-3 win for Team Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like you mentioned at the top of this segment, Korea almost didn't advance. Not only did they have to beat Australia, they had to beat them by 5 runs. They won by 5 runs with a sac fly in the top of the 9th inning. Otherwise, they would have beaten Australia 6-2 and gotten knocked out. That's just the way it is. You're not playing that many games. And if everybody has the same number of losses, right? Japan was good. But then you had Korea, Australia, and Chinese Taipei. Since Chinese Taipei upset, I guess that was the upset. You mentioned that to me
it's
this
been
morning.
like the one upset.
That's the biggest upset.
The biggest game of this whole tournament, and you guys will laugh when I say this, is tomorrow. Or it might be today. Brazil versus Great Britain. The winner doesn't have to qualify for the next WBC. So as long as you don't finish last, like Czech, they're out, so they have to qualify. They're going to lose to Poland in the next qualifier, hopefully. If we can figure out how to get Poland in the qualifiers. But Brazil, Britain, I think it's today at 1 o'clock on Fox 1. The winner doesn't have to re-qualify. They're in the next WBC. So that, even though it's like, why would anyone watch that game? It means a lot to those teams.
Hey, do you guys consider these home runs, these walk-offs that create the mercy rule? Are they considered walk-offs?
See, I said no on the broadcast when who was it? Soto hit one the other night. I asked that question, but then Waino and Adam Amin said yes because it's technically a walk-off.
It ends the game,
but it's not really. It's not really. It's like a mercy homer. We should call it like the mercy homer.
But
it's Red Cross homer.
It wins you the game theoretically.
I mean, if they were already going to win the game,
theoretically, the game's not
over.
What
if they run off the field?
Over. Well, then it could be a runoff for a walk-off. But the game is not over. Like you could be up 9 runs, and some team could come back from 9 runs in the 9th inning. Is it likely? No. But the point is, if you're up 10 runs through 7, the game is actually over. So you did walk it off. You won the game.
I disagree. What do you think, KP?
I don't know if I'd be celebrating like I hit a walk-off homer. I would probably feel good that the game's over and we knew we were going to win the game. But, when you're up 9 runs in the 5th or 6th inning, you're pretty certain your team's going to win. But, I mean, hey, everyone's got a different style. I mean, guys enjoy hitting these walk-off homers as the home team in the 7th inning. Go enjoy them.
Yep.
And by the way, here's a question for you guys. Should they implement the run rule in the regular season of Major League Baseball? 10 after 7. So you don't have to see a position player pitch.
I don't think so. I don't know. I got to think more about it. Why do you think?
I don't know.
I'm
just throwing it out there.
I say yes.
I say yes. I think.
But then guys on the bench don't get at bats sometimes. I mean,
I'm not worried about that. But does it happen enough that it matters? I guess it does. The thing is, you still see position players if it's a 7-run game, in the 9th. So what's the line?
KP, thoughts?
I think you should just be able to wave the white flag. I mean, if you're going to go down that route of, not using a guy to your bullpen, you're clearly sending a message to the other team that we don't believe we can win this game, and I'm going to save my pitchers for tomorrow. So let's allow everyone to get off the field and get home a little bit earlier. And I'm all for it, because as an offensive player too, it's such a lose-lose situation when you go up to home plate and you have to face a position player. You get a hit, you're supposed to. You hit a home run, yes, ultimately it counts on your statistics. Does it feel the same way at the end of the year when you go into ARB or free agency? It counts just as everyone, all the other ones. But I think at some point, when a position player comes out of the bullpen or the dugout to pitch, it's no longer a good look for the game. I don't think the people that come to a game and watch this really enjoy it. And if the game is that lopsided at some point of the game, the people have either gotten their money's worth if your team's winning, or they're ready to go home anyways if your team's losing. So I think you should be able to wave the white flag.
I think it makes our sport look a little bit amateur when we have the position player stuff going on. Like, you get a fun, cute, viral moment every once in a while, but most of the time it's meh. Well, we started this conversation talking about Team Japan and Korea advancing from their pool, and they're head to the States. So if you'd like to watch them continue their journey, Fox One is the spot. AJ will have
free 7-day trial.
Friday's game.
Right?
Free 7-day trial.
Because there are people complaining, I don't have that app. Well, sign up for it. You get a free 7-day trial.
Exactly. You could scan that QR code to get involved. Also, this is big. I want to make sure we hammer this the entire week. Our WBC post-game shows begin tonight. We are going to give you post-game coverage of the rest of the games for Team USA. And we are going to do Dominican Republic, Venezuela post-game on Wednesday. That's going to be a good one. And then you can check all of that out on the FT YouTube channel. So after those games, like tonight, Team USA against Mexico, AJ and I will be live. Maybe Kratz too. So we'll see you after. For that one, let's get to our next combo.
I'm here with one of the newest Braves, Mike Yastrezemski. How's it going? This is kind of like your first spring training with a new team. I know, early on in your career with Baltimore, but this is really your first big league spring training with a new team. How's it going?
It's good. I think the number one thing is obviously like getting acclimated to new people, new training staff. And it's about diving in head first and just being willing to, maybe you had routine somewhere else, you got to change them. Maybe you had a certain time you showed up, you come in a little earlier, get to know the guys, eat breakfast with 3 or 4 different groups. As you know, I love to hang out in the kitchen. So it's about being around the guys and making that adjustment. And it's been great so far.
Hey, Yaz, when you signed with the team, how much of the conversation was about, the fit with playing time and how things would go versus the organization itself?
For me, it was more about being part of a good organization, about winning. At this point in my career, I wanted that second year with the third option just for comfort, right? So I could buy into being a part of the organization so that I could not have to worry about playing time. I wanted to worry about winning. I wanted to focus on, how do I come into an organization with a great group that's already established and hopefully be a part of something a little bit more than what happened last year.
Hey, how long does it take you to know everyone's name? Do you ask them to wear name tags, like trainers, assistant clubhouse guys?
I actually had I had one of our guys send me a directory. So like the main thing is like, all the players, right? You've been playing against them for, however long you've been around. Maybe you've crossed paths with some of them playing together, but it's like the training staff, the hitting coaches, obviously it's a little easier to know Walt's name, right? Like if you don't know the manager's name coming in, that's a little tough, but it's just one of those things where you got to work a little harder. And those are the types of things that matter, just knowing people's names and learning, about their families, where they're from, all these sorts of things. So it's been fun.
Yeah, good for you for doing that. I mean, I had a hard time kind of towards the later part of my career. I played on 10 teams, so I would be in the training room, and I wanted to get to know everyone, but I had so many different trainers, and it would take me like a couple of weeks into the season, and I would like go to the same trainer, and I'd listen in the training room, and they'd be like, "Okay, Alex," and I would like leave and be like, Alex. I had to remember, but in terms of kind of fitting in here, I was here a couple years ago. Didn't know any of the guys really, never played with them. And it was honestly one of the best times I had in baseball. There's so many great people here, fun people to be around. And I reached out to you and I said, Riley and Olson, they're going to take care of you. They're some of the best people I've been around.
Yeah, that's exactly how it is. And when you start those relationships, right, it's always kind of like the same monotonous, like tell me where you're from, your whole path, your story, blah blah. But it's about getting out on the golf course, right? Like getting out with the boys, have a couple beers, letting normal conversations start happening. So that way, when you show up the next week, it's not like, hey, what's your routine going to be today? Do you have to take ground balls for the 400th time? Oh, you do. Okay, great. It's like, hey, remember when you almost blew your wrist out trying to hit out of a bush because you were playing for $20? Like Megan, just being normal people, and that's the fun stuff where it's like you have something else to laugh about. You don't feel like you show up and it's like Groundhog Day over and over again. So just like diving into those things and not being afraid to be like, hey, like let's take all the kids to the park. Let's take the kids to dinner. Let's just kind of dive into this so that way it's not evolving in June or July and be like, oh man, I wish we had been, doing this stuff a little earlier. It's like, let's just start right away.
Hey, we've had you on, so we've talked about your story, of course, being a late bloomer and then just being a really consistent, great player in this league for a minute. I want to take a different turn because now you're signed up. You feel like it's kind of unfair that you finally hit free agency in your mid-30s? You're turning 36 this year. You've had a great ride so far and more to go. But I'm like, damn, you can't hit free agency until your mid-30s. And you look at some of the other leagues and how guys can get there so much quicker. I don't think that the general public understands that sometimes, that the clock still runs even if you're approaching 30 and you can't get to free agency for so damn long.
I mean, yeah, for a little bit I looked at it like that, but I also looked at it as kind of like a pride thing, right? Like I made it to free agency. At one point it was looking at it like, hey, maybe you don't even make it through ARB, maybe you don't make it through your first year. And so I'm just taking it one day at a time. Every day past that first day that I got called up is bonus to me. So I feel like I'm playing with house money still. And I think that's what keeps my spirits up, free, easy. There's guys who get to free agency and make $400 million. There's guys that don't get to free agency. So I'm just really excited to be in the position that I'm in and thankful every day that it's worked out the way it has because, there was some rocky roads, but I think that shapes who you are. And I think that's part of why I play hard and play the way I do is because of the path that I've been down.
Yeah, speaking of that journey, I had a front row seat to that journey in 2019. This young 28-year-old walks into the clubhouse in San Francisco to make his major league debut. It's crazy for me to sit here and think about where you started and where you've gone. But you mentioned being a free agent at 35, 36 years old. I was leaving the game at that age. Like, what have you done in order to allow teams to view you younger than you actually are? Because when I got 35, 36, I was kind of viewed as old. My speed wasn't quite the same. I wasn't moving as well. You obviously have kind of figured something out in order to, allow these GMs, confidence to sign you for 2 years at your current age.
Yeah, I mean, when you have the same body structure as the bat boy, sometimes it helps. It's like they're like, oh, the bat boy's got a little pop in there, so maybe we'll let him stick around a little bit longer. But no, seriously, it's been about health, right? So the best ability is availability, and you did that throughout your whole career. And I think that as I've gone through injuries and I've gone through playing through injuries, I've learned when to step back, when to not. I think you were the first person to even mention it to me. I think it was like mid-August, and Boch gave me an off day after he'd played me probably 42 games in a row, and I'm hitting, and he goes, didn't I give you an off day? I'm like, yeah. He's like, get off the field. I'm like, okay. And we had a conversation in there, and I'll never forget this, where you go, hey, do you think you could go out there and hit a homer to left today? It's like, yeah. Could you hit one to center? Yeah. Could you hit one to right? Yeah. And you're like, so what are you proving to yourself? And I was like, oh man, that makes a lot of sense. Like I'd go out there and I'd waste energy for something that I didn't need. And so it's just about adapting and, putting your best foot forward into your body and your health. And, whether it be changing a diet, whether it be changing the way you lift in the off season, that's been one of the big things for me. I changed my lifting 2 years ago and stayed off the IL last year for the first time in a while, knock on wood. So it's adaptation.
I know you're a Northeast guy. You were born in the Northeast, but you're a Tennessee guy now, Vandy guy, live in Tennessee. How cool is it to kind of play for, the hometown team? I know Braves country, Tennessee is Braves country. And obviously, having a wife and a young family, how nice is it for them to be a lot closer to home?
Man, I think my wife was more excited than I was when I signed. That was like one of the crazy things was it goes from a 5-hour flight for a home game to a 4-hour drive. And that's huge because, now on off days, I could sneak home if I wanted to, see the kids if I hadn't seen them in a couple days. It's just about quality of life, and that's it's a little bit easier to get down to Florida for spring training. All these things kind of add up to the stresses of a season. And when you can minimize stress and you can minimize anxiety, then you're going to be able to stay in the moment more. You're going to enjoy it more. So I think that was also a big part of, coming here.
Question for you. So last year, or maybe it was the year before, you worked with Burrell, right? Did you work with him a lot?
Yeah, I did.
Was that last year?
Yeah, last year and even into the year before, he was still with us then.
Okay, so talking about Pat Burrell, by the way, for the fans.
Yeah.
Two-parter here. One, what did he work with you on that was super helpful? And two, did you try and get any stories out of him because he was the old guard of baseball player? As I described, I was at a conference this weekend and people were asking about baseball players these days. And I was like, 20 years ago, they were shutting down the bars and clubs. Nowadays, they're playing video games. Pat Burrell was one of the front runners there. Old school.
Yeah, so one of his mentality on hitting was really helpful, because he's 1-1, he had all this weight on his shoulders. He felt like he had so much to live up to, and he knew how to deal with the emotional side of baseball, where that's really tough to do. There are some guys that try to avoid it and not even approach talking about, the emotions that go along with the game. You're trying so hard, you care so much, the game is so much failure. And he'd been through a lot. And so to hear his perspective was always really, really helpful, especially in terms of keeping everything like realistic and understanding that we're not as human beings supposed to be perfect. We're not supposed to be perfect in the box. So it's okay when you don't get the big hit. It's okay when you don't get, you don't make the big play, and your things are going to be okay and you're going to be able to move forward. So we kept it simple in that sense. And I've got a lot of stories. I think most of them kind of fall under the category of, not suitable for a work environment, but he is a absolute character, always kept things loose, always kept things fun. And that was a fun time in my career to have a guy like that around.
I know it's only been a couple weeks here in camp, but is there someone that you've met here in camp that kind of reminds you of yourself, and have you been able to kind of take them under your wing? Maybe it's a Eli White who kind of has figured it out a little bit later, maybe Luke Williams, or maybe it's someone else in camp that, you share your story with, like, hey, I didn't really get my first taste of 28. Look at me, 6-7 years later.
Yeah. As you know, I'm a huge look at me guy, so that's my thing. I love telling the story and making people understand what I'm about. But no, it's actually, I've been talking a lot with Drake. Our lockers are right next to each other. I'm right between him and Eli. So talking to both of those guys a lot, but Drake's really curious. And so it's really cool to see a guy who had so much success in his first year. Obviously winning Rookie of the Year is incredible. But he's constantly wanting to get better, and he's trying to learn how to add adjustments, how to start thinking a little bit more intelligently in terms of, learning himself, which is, hard to do. It's probably the hardest thing to do in the game, is to learn who you are as a player. And so just asking me questions about, stories from 2014 to a surgery I had in 16 to, getting called up and then getting kind of potentially sent down and going 0 for 5 that day, and how to handle that and all these different things. So it's been really cool to talk to those guys.
Hey, last one from me. Did Lee call you, Jung-Ho Lee, to give you any tips, or for you to give him any tips? He had mentioned you in one of the interviews, like, I'm going to have to call Yaz and get some help here. I'm moving from center to a corner.
Yeah, we actually we talk a lot. Jungi's one of my favorite teammates of all time. Talk about a guy who was willing to just like dive in a new country, a new environment. Our lockers were next to each other, so we had a blast. And we've talked a couple times. We haven't dove into it too much, but I told him I'd give him a little bit of a breather while he was playing for Korea. And once he comes back, I'm sure we'll have an hour-long FaceTime, and I'll give him the whole rundown, because that's what you got to do. You got to spread the love. You got to spread the knowledge. And when you find good people in the game, you try and keep them around as long as possible.
Yeah, so for Braves fans, this guy's been hiding on the West Coast in San Francisco most of his career. You guys are going to love him. I'm excited for you to be an Atlanta Brave. Yes, can't thank you enough. Stay healthy and go put on a show.
Will do.
Job well done to the Atlanta Braves and former Brave Kevin Pillar.
How come we got no pitchers though? Are you like anti-pitcher?
No, not anti-pitcher. Just you guys should be thanking me. We got Austin Riley on the show. He has not been able to come on. Every time he's asked, he hasn't done it. I delivered.
Yeah, but no Strider. He hasn't been on either, and he's a pitcher.
Well, you know what? I did not know that until I already put my list.
Robert Suarez hasn't been on the show.
I promise you, next time, Spencer Strider. I will get Spencer Strider on the show when we want to talk Atlanta Braves, and I'm on the show next. I will get.
I still want my bat off of him.
Oh yeah.
All right, we can arrange that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. D-Ro, by the way, D-Ro was talking about the other day, DeRosa, the USA thing, about how some guys might not get to pitch. They need to pitch. So what are we going to do? We're going to have like David Ross and Michael Young and Brian McCann taking bats off them. And I'm like, I'll take a bat off of them.
Yeah.
Sign me up, coach. I'll jump in there. I go, as long as it's not Clevenger or Spire. I'm like, any of those righty dudes, I'll take my shot.
Yeah. This weekend.
Yeah.
This is your chance.
I feel like I missed I feel like that my phone should have rang for that. Recently retired, still in decent shape. You need a guy to just come hang out and, stand in a bullpen, let the guys tell them how good their stuff is. I would have signed up for that job in a heartbeat. Give me a USA jersey. Hey, I know you didn't get any work in. I was doing that in the big leagues anyways. They'd call me and be like, hey, Jack Leiters, you need to get some work in today. You're not starting. You haven't played in a week. You want to come face them? I'm like, absolutely. So I've done that before in my career. It would have been an honor for me to do it for Team USA. So D-Ro, if you're listening and you get a chance to manage next year, I'll stay in good shape. You need a guy to just take at bats. I'm your guy.
You can be their center field coach too.
That's right.
I don't have it all figured out. I didn't crack any codes. I didn't do anything. I just want to take at bats off their guys that need work, and I'll let them know how good they are.
I love it. Hey, you can listen to KP a few times a week on Bluebird Territory, by the way. New Blue Jays show. Want to shout that out. But also KP tomorrow from Rays camp. Yes, we'll talk to the Rays. And then on Wednesday, we have the Baltimore Orioles. That should be fun. Twins camp Thursday. Friday, we visit the Red Sox. Next week, Tigers, Pirates, Blue Jays, Phillies. And then that's a wrap for the Foul Territory Spring Training Tour, which has been engineered by Fastenal. Again, one more reminder before we get out of here. We're back tonight. We'll see you after the USA versus Mexico game, whatever happens. When the final out is recorded, we'll be on pretty soon after that. We'll do that all week with U.S. games and also with the Dominican Republic against Venezuela. That post-game show is on Wednesday. All live on the FT YouTube channel. See you on, tonight.
What's that?